Have you been to the Frost Moon recently, sir? I'm looking for anybody who has recently been to the Frost Moon. If anybody has been there, give me a sign. I need to go back to the Frost Moon today. Shit, I'm dying. Oh, Lord. Oh, this is it. GG. Oh, my God. Yo, why'd the music stop in game? Come on, bro. That's my intro music is the game. What the hell's going on? Hello, game? Game, activate your music, please. It's Loriac Tuesday. It was supposed to be it was supposed to be yesterday, but well, you know, shit happens, okay? Things happen. I get sidetracked and down rabbit holes, and it just doesn't happen. But it's given time to compose some thoughts, okay? And Radish, I know you're gonna hate me, but buddy, it's just not real. It's just not true. This is. HP can just not be that guy. He is not. How can we claim this guy is all powerful when he's just sleeping the whole time? Alright, YouTube up. I don't have first-hand account of an all-powerful being here. They talk about it in the stories, but, well, you know, I'm not a believer. HP #1 heretic. I'm gonna stand by that. I'm gonna stand by the HP #1 heretic. Know what I mean? I like it. I like that. Oh, yeah, hell yeah, I like that. I like that. Oh, don't worry, we're watching some, we're gonna be watching some, Dawit. That's for sure. That is for sure. Alright, this might dive me right into a quest. This might dive us right into Nicole's part 2, which is whatever quest, because I maxed out her thing and then I alt F4 before it started last night because I didn't want to do it off stream. So this might launch us right into the witch's area meeting point part 2, but we'll see. Kablamo. It did. It launched us right into it. That's okay. We're gonna knock this out real quick.
My oh my. The final product has exceeded all my expectations. If anyone actually does stumble in here by mistake, I'm sure they will be truly awe-inspired by this mage's might.
If someone really does end up here by accident, will you guide them to fulfill their wishes?
Well, that all depends on the sort of person they are. Guidance can encourage complacency and entitlement if you're not careful. If someone is eager to rely on their own abilities like you do, then I'll gladly help them. But if they're the type of person who pins all their hopes on the mage's power while doing none of the work themselves...
Bro, this is what I say about real life. People place so much faith in a god or a higher power, but they don't put enough faith in themselves. That's what I've been saying my whole life. Not my whole life, but for a hell of a long time. They don't put enough faith in themselves. They just want God to answer everything for them. So all you people thinking the HP is gonna save you, nope, he ain't.
Would you really turn them into a statue?
You have the least confidence out of all of us? Okay, buddy.
No, nothing like
The
that.
fuck does that mean?
But I would guide them out of this place to the nearby Curatorium of Secrets. I'm sure Nefer would know how to deal with them much better than I do. Those who seek to reap without sowing ought to pay the price, don't you think?
What up, BB7? Oh. Well, that was short. Or you want to see what I did yesterday? Want to see what I did yesterday? This is what I did yesterday. Look at this. 100, 100, 100. Cleared that shit right up. Cleared that shit right up. Oh, do I even have enough artifact space for this crap? I don't. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude. Come on. Friendship team for the ages. Believe it. It actually works pretty damn well. I'm not gonna lie. Although, the only annoying part is when they run all over the place. New Columbina is 80 less cooldown because of shit pieces and... I don't even know what I have here right now. Oh my god, I'm in shambles. I'm just in shambles, dude. I don't even have... Oh my god, I can only get rid of 21 pieces. Defense, dog. Oh my god. Why does the world hate me? You know, we have to say that. My pyro damage goblets are so ass. I don't have anything for Columbina really for this new set yet, so I mean, we're just saving everything pretty much. What up, man? Is it worth pulling for Sabai if I don't have Nuvalet and Moika? I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. I don't look at what characters do before they come out. I mean, I watched the live stream, but that's all I got. So I have no idea what kind of team comps you'd be good with. So I am unfortunately the wrong person to ask. We're just keeping them all. I don't even care. We're just keeping everything right now. Even though I have no space for everything. Dude, I can't wait to get Yehoda off the squad. I did not mean to do that already. It's just gonna be time for Yehoda to leave the squad. Almost there. Ooh. Ugh. Ugh. Disgusting. Just having a problem in choosing between Nubila and Zabai. Genshin's so cruel. I mean, Nouvelette's fucking goated. I'm not gonna lie to you. I still can't really give you an answer because I don't 100% know, like pull value for Zabai versus, you know, Nouvelette, especially depending on what other characters you have on your characters you also have pulled already, and if they'll work in unison with certain team comps. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of variables that go into whether you should pull a character. Like, for example, while Columbina's great, you probably shouldn't pull Columbina if you don't have any KRAI characters. Okay, listen, Radish, you could not come in here and say that every boss is too easy. You wanna know? This is Radish. Look at Radish. This is, you know, I'll give a perfect example. Look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this clown. Every boss is too easy. Every boss is too easy. C6 level 100 Columbina. C6 level 100 Skirk. C6 level 100 Moika. C6 level 100 Farina. Every boss is too easy, though. Is this guy serious? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What the hell are we doing? Every boss is too easy. Upgrade my frame. Lord have mercy is right. Buddy, how was that slander? I'm saying nothing false. This is all factual statements. This is all I just pulled up the proof. How is this? This is not slander at all. I didn't even say anything. I just simply pulled up
Thank you for complete
your characters. That's all I did. That was it. I'm free to play. Okay, dude. This guy. Let me get a load of this guy. Now he's just a liar.
Is truly
And that's not slander because it's true. It's just true. I don't even think you could get all those characters C6 if you were free to play and those were the only characters you pulled. That's a lie. You probably could. That's a lie. You probably could do that. That's a lie. You probably could do that.
If you ever
That's a straight up lie. You know what I'm having a problem with? I'm having a problem with figuring out who the hell is C1 out of this goddamn thing, dude. It's coming up, and I don't know who to put my point to. To be honest, I'm about to throw it at a character I already have C6 for an extra level boost. Because I don't even use Yaimiko anymore. I did, but I really don't anymore. Like, I just don't use any of these characters on a regular basis for anything. It's literally just worth to get throw it towards a C6 character so I can get a level boost. Well, the other thing is I haven't even used a level boost yet. Like, how many of these? I only have 4 of these things. I haven't even used one. I haven't even used one of those yet. I don't know what to do. I hate when I have limited shit like that and I just don't know how to use it. Pay to win just makes the game, or I mean, if you C6 the characters, you just make the game easier for yourself, and you can complete Stygian Onslaught and get a weapon for 40 days, a weapon skin for 40 days. That's about it. Other than that, no point. No point. No point. It's not the way I want to play the game. Okay. So, I got a little hype earlier. Cause I saw a reel. Once again. Wow, I did actually, hold on, did I do all this?
pet Ashru. Little fluffball ran away.
The word around town is HP is AI. That's what I've been hearing. What do you think about that, Radish? Why don't you lead us into this, Radish? Radish, you think that HP is AI, brother? Did I already do this? I did that. Let me find this shit. Let me find this. There it is. So I was scrolling and I saw this shit earlier, right? What you looking at? I'm about to look up how the HP is an AI. Or I'm about to look at somebody try to explain why the HP is AI, and now I'm gonna say why it's not. Because this is the talk, and honestly, while it could be, I just have a hard time believing it. Oh, hold on. I saw this short earlier. I'm gonna play it all the way through, and then we're gonna go look.
Discovered that Event is actually a giant life support system run by a traumatized AI. The Traveler's spaceship isn't just a ship, but a sentient pioneer vessel with a soul and paternal instincts. The twins were already on board the spaceship, serving as the genetic vault or the seed of humanity that the ship was designed to protect. After passing a planet destroyed by a supernova, which happened the same year that the twins were born, the ship viewed its own journey as torture. And to cope with this, the ship disconnected its idea association module, basically its emotional module, so it would stop feeling emotions over hundreds of dead worlds that it saw in space. So that means that the Heavenly Principles is actually this AI, creating the shades and humanity using the twins' genetic code. Its fear for human ambition isn't actually out of malice, but a paranoid security protocol to prevent another civilization from burning too bright and causing destruction. And it destroys advanced civilizations like Conria to keep humanity from exploring too far and triggering another cosmic disaster. The ship's idea association module is actually an anagram oddly close to our floating friend Paimon, the only other AI monitoring our journey.
Okay. So, simply, the stuff he wants to say about the idea association module makes absolutely no sense. And let me explain why.
Planet but a sentient pioneer vessel with a soul and paternal instincts. The twins were already on board the spaceship, serving as the genetic vault or the seed of humanity that the ship was designed to protect.
Wait a minute, I didn't even catch that part when I watched this earlier. He's saying that the twins are the genetic vault? Because that's obviously...
as the genetic vault or the seed of humanity that the ship was designed instincts. The twins were already on board the spaceship, serving as the genetic vault or the seed of humanity that the ship was designed to protect. After passing a planet
that is a hell of an assumption. That is just simply not what it says at all.
Destroyed by a supernova, which happened the same year that the twins were born, the ship viewed its own journey as torture. And to cope with this, the ship disconnected its idea association module, basically its emotional module.
So he says that the ship, that the idea module is the emotional module, which makes absolutely no sense. Hold on, let me find the outfit. Follow me for a second. Follow me for a second. I know, we just keep going right back to this goddamn outfit. So, the problem is the idea association module is commented up here. After it says, it also once pictured a scene like this. Twins standing under the radiant night sky, their eyes shining as they watch the stars and the many moons above. But it immediately disconnected its idea association module. He's thinking that the idea association module... Van? Yo, Radish will cook your ass. You better watch yourself, Van. Anyways, it immediately disconnected its idea association module. This line is referring to a... Basically, if the ship is AI, which I'm on board with that, right? This ship has some type of AI in it, right? Come on, let me mute Traveler. The ship has some type of AI in it, right? But this idea association module is referring to the fact that it A sky with such colors only meant that the atmosphere was unfit for life. The idea association module is not an emotion module. It's like an artistic creative module. It has nothing to do with emotion. It's idea association. It means like your ability to visualize a concept based off of writing. Like if somebody is writing in a book and somebody else's idea to write certain things out in a descriptive format so you can visualize that in your head, that's an idea association module. It's not emotion. It has nothing to do with emotion, which is why it's saying a sky with such colors only meant that the atmosphere was unfit for life. There's a saying that the idea in its head that it would love to see is the twins sitting on a planet looking up at the sky and seeing all of the stars. But that's impossible because in order to do that, the planet would have to have no atmosphere and not be livable. The atmosphere was unfit for life. He goes on to refer to this part down here, that it's thinking that it's pulling out this idea association module because of the fact that it's talking about the interstellar travel is dangerous after all, supernova 5-6 light years away. All of this paragraph here has nothing to deal with why it pulled out its idea association module. I mean, you can't say for sure that is an interpretation, but I don't think it's the correct interpretation. It's saying the idea association module, because of this line here, has nothing to deal with ripping out its emotions because of the fact that it went through dangerous territory and saw a planet get exploded by a supernova. It has nothing to deal with that. Because if it did, let's say all the way here, right? Oh, it's picturing this, the twins standing under the radiant night sky, their eyes shining. Oh, it disconnected its idea association module. He wants to call it the emotional module right there, right? Okay, then why are we talking about later how it still has the emotion to build the garments in the wardrobe, updating the materials for interstellar travel, and the gesture might not amount to much, but it offered a quiet kind of comfort. It put the outfits on the stasis pods. It put the outfits on the stasis pods. It doesn't do that because that has no practical reason. You want to say ripped out all of its emotion? It's not going to do that off of emotion. It's only going to do that because of emotion. It feels some type of emotion still. So my point is, idea association module is not emotion. But I digress. Let's continue the rest of the reel, because there's another line in there too. The Hemi tweaking.
It would stop feeling emotions over hundreds of dead worlds that it saw in space. So that means that the Heavenly Principles is actually this AI.
And then automatically, since it has no emotion, HP equals AI. Like, I don't even know how we get there.
Creating the shades and humanity using the twins' genetic code. Its fear for human ambition isn't actually out of malice, but a paranoid security protocol to prevent another civilization from burning too bright and causing destruction. And it destroys advanced civilizations like Conria to keep humanity from exploring too far and triggering another cosmic disaster.
So, again, with the entire fact that it's going to... I've said this before.
The ship's idea association module is actually an...
I've said it before, that I don't think, especially because I don't think it ripped out its emotions, that it's just going to start nuking its own people with celestial nails. It didn't rip out emotions, and it's not going to start resetting people with celestial nails, because not only are like the nails aren't just limiting knowledge, they're corrupting the world. Look at what happened in Sumeru. Like, we have so many other things that happen because of the celestial nails that it just being... We have so many other things happen because of celestial nails that would impact the entire planet. That have impacted the entire planet. Not just single civilizations. They leave a lingering effect. It's like a nuclear bomb with radiation. The place becomes corrupted. So like, you're gonna tell me it's worth nuking the people out of your genetic vault just to prevent them from getting knowledge? And I know the arguments for the Honkai thing, which Radish, you want to go off on about the whole Honkai thing, but I still feel like if this existed in Genshin's world, that there would have been some type of mention in it in this area of this uniform, instead of it just saying that a planet got destroyed by a supernova. I don't think that the Heavenly Principles, if the Heavenly Principles is our AI, that they're going to nuke their own people with celestial nails on the planet that they're trying to create. I just don't see the logic in it. I don't see the logic in it at all. I had another note on this that I'm looking for. Hold on. Yeah, maybe not. I think that's really all I had. I think it's just the honestly, the thing I saw about that was the emotional module, and I just there's no way that that thing has that equals emotional module. I don't see it. It just doesn't make sense to me. But with that being said, what I do want to actually look at are some actual videos, other than just that short that I saw, and I was like, yeah, that's just nah. There's plenty of other things that we can say here where it's like the Primordial one I mean, it's not completely impossible. I don't want to totally disregard the theory that the Heavenly Principles could be AI, because don't get me wrong, it definitely could be possible. It's just, with the stuff we see going on into that, and comparing it to what we read on our outfit, it just doesn't really line up. It just doesn't really line up. And I know he kind of says here at the end too that
the ship's idea association module is actually an anagram oddly close to our floating friend Paimon.
And now it's like, oh, it's also Paimon. Like, nah, dude. I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. I don't think it has anything to do with Paimon. Because now we're talking tons of different personalities all equaling one thing. We're talking a Heavenly Principles who is destroying people, civilizations to not acquire knowledge. Even if you say Paimon doesn't have her memories and is acting... What up, Raiden? And is acting out of her own best interest, or just like she doesn't have her memories and she's just acting as a normal person going through. It's like, why would she call herself like the guy to say that? Like, she might be something else, but like, I don't think she has a relationship to our ship if the HP equals AI. I don't think all of them can be true. I'll stand by that. Okay. So what we're going to start with this last one. Dawit's last video, did they just reveal the identity of the Heavenly Principles? Because this is going to go off of everything I was just saying with that short, I feel like. I feel like he's going to talk about what he thinks in here is, if he thinks the Heavenly Principles are AI or anything like that. I mean, he's got to kind of go into this a little bit. So let's see. Dawit, did they just reveal the identity of the Heavenly Principles? And I already know this is going to probably be hilarious, because we know anytime the Heavenly Principles are mentioned, the boy blows a load. Here we go.
Quote, it's...
I like to make it known, I, for one, am in no way, shape, or form against the idea of a robotic Heavenly Principles. As a matter of fact, I'd welcome the clanker with open arms and happily serve our AI overlord. I love robots. No one loves them more than me. 2B, A2, Eve, Raven, Subservience. I'm a big supporter of robot rights myself. Fighting the good right alongside Rev Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm XOS, and of course Rosa Sparks. Listen. Buddy. Did he release this yesterday? You cannot release this on Martin Luther King Day. God damn it, I don't know why I hit that. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And just throw this extra shit in here, okay? All right? And listen, this is cuck behavior. This is straight up cuck behavior. So now, not only is he going to praise the heavenly principles all the time, but he's going to, like, sit in the chair and watch the heavenly principles fuck his wife at the same time, and then possibly get involved. But he's not going to fuck his wife. He's just going to fuck the heavenly principles while the heavenly principles is fucking his wife. That's where Dawit's currently at right now. He's slobbering on it. He's choking on that shit. And this is getting out of hand, brother. Honestly, you need to step back and look at it from another perspective, because honestly, when they show up, I fear for your life. I really do. I fear for your life. I don't think it's going to end well for you.
Quote, "It had journeyed through countless worlds and endless distances, surveying every kind of terrain and gazing upon skies tinted in different colors. This might sound romantic, but in reality, the matter was closer to torture than adventure. It also once pictured a scene like this, twins standing under the radiant night sky, their eyes shining as they watched the stars and the many moons above. But it immediately disconnected its idea association module. A sky with such colors only meant that the atmosphere was unfit for life. After witnessing such vistas hundreds of times, there was no longer any need to be moved by them. It did not awake the slumbering twin travelers. Instead, it carried the weight of an exile in a journey so long that numbers had lost their meaning. The fine details of the lithosphere, atmosphere, or biosphere ultimately mattered little. Reshaping terrain, adjusting the air, rebuilding an ecosystem, these were simple tasks for a pioneer vessel meant to bear the spark of civilization. A star's position, its distance, or its lifespan might pose a minor challenge, yet even those had solutions. The true difficulty lay in finding a world with potential. Without that, destruction would catch up all too soon. It was a trivial matter in the span of a long voyage. The planet they passed was never a destination, since its star had already entered its twilight. Its biosphere and atmosphere had been utterly destroyed.
He's one-shotting this.
The surface held nothing but cooled masses of molten rock. A supernova had caused the devastation. For several weeks or months, intense heat and light had marked the star's final brilliance. After that, it had been reduced to a cold, dim dwarf. It ran a quick calculation on when the event had occurred. What a coincidence. The radiation trapped in the planet's crust indicated that the supernova had erupted the very year the twins were
read the
born.
whole thing.
Naturally, the two events had nothing to do with each other. No one would ever celebrate their birth by burying an entire world with it. Such levels of extravagance and cruelty simply did not exist. Interstellar travel was dangerous. After all, a supernova 5 or 6 light years away could damage the genetic vaults, and perhaps the twins as well. It immediately modified the garments in the wardrobe, upgrading them with their materials better suited for interstellar travel, and laid them
I haven't heard a
the
cut yet,
pods.
I don't think.
The gesture might not amount to much,
I hear the breaths in
but it
between.
offered
He's
a quiet
cooking.
kind of comfort. Within the slumber, the twins were granted new refuge, and so it continued its journey across countless lands and stones, numberless atmospheres, and skies.
Damn. One-shotted. Better than me. I stuttered a couple times reading it. Golly.
So this is it, huh? A lot of people saying this is the big one. After 5 long years, do we at long last have a definitive answer to who the heavenly principles are? To who the primordial one, a progenitor god hailing from beyond the stars is? Are the heavenly principles?
Definitely not that guy. Could be. Possible. Oh, hell nah. Blank.
I say blank because I'm not exactly sure what to put here. A lot of you guys spam my inbox following the release of this description, calling the heavenly principles the AI of the ship. This is an interesting thought.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Instead of fucking around, I'm just going to be blunt. I don't agree with it.
Oh my god. See, dude. Look, you know what? Fuck everyone. And fuck you, Radish, because you... Look, thank you. You know what, DeWitt? While you might be slobbering on it, I can agree with you at this part, buddy.
Multitude of different reasons. If We're arguing semantics. I must say, when I first read the description, I was a bit taken aback because nowhere in it does it state there was an AI within the ship. Rather, it seemed the ship itself was sentient, as the text states, quotes, reshaping terrain, adjusting the air, rebuilding an ecosystem. These were simple tasks for a pioneer vessel meant to bear the spark of civilization. To me, it reads as though the ship itself is capable of these tasks, rather than something else within the ship. When the traveler went into the ship at the end of the quest, they didn't speak of a missing third party or robotic entity, but even if it's not the case that there wasn't a third party and the AI was in fact just
Well, see, hold on, because I still feel like there may have been a third party, but I don't think the third party was the AI of the ship. I wasn't saying you're slobbering on it, Radish. I'm saying Dawit might be slobbering on it, but I can agree with him that I don't think the ship is there, that HP equals AI. Because while I might disagree with him about slobbering on the heavenly principles, I'm agreeing with him that I don't think it's AI. Anyways, what was I saying? I personally believe that there may have been some type of third person on the ship alongside of us due to the way that the text on the outfit was written. It wasn't written from like a first-person perspective. It was written like it was from a third-person perspective. So I think there may have been something else involved, but it also wasn't the AI or AGI of the ship. I also think it's important to clarify whether the ship is an AI that is like our current form of AI, where it's like you give it information and it spits shit back out at you, or is it AGI where it's like sentient and actually, doing these things itself. I think that's an important thing that is yet to be made clear.
Integrated within the ship or the ship itself, then by what mechanism could they have given themselves a form without the ship? Given we know the heavenly principles existed on Teyvat independent of the ship, and not just any form, but form equal to that of a god, and not just any god, but a god having a will strong enough to classify as that of a descender, meaning they had the will of an entire world. We know that before the heavenly principles arrived, it descended unto this world in a specific form. Before Sun and Moon tells us, quote, the primordial one may have been Fanes, it had wings and a crown, and was birthed from an egg, androgynous in nature. Albeit of a morning star tells us, quote, until the day that the winged descender arrived, treading upon the morning star. Nervalet quite literally states,
since you hail from beyond the stars, I invite you to be my witness as I judge this upended world. This realm dismantled was of the formidable father himself, but what now reigns here is a cluster of filthy feathers.
But even more important than its appearance, when did it arrive? Let's say for now we aren't arguing semantics, and I agree that the heavenly principles was in fact the AI of the ship. When would the AI have gotten to Teyvat in relation to the twins? Now recently, we found out the Pioneer vessel has been to Teyvat twice, once 500 years ago, and the other thousands of years ago.
I read the spaceship's flight logs. I always assumed that this was my first time in Teyvat. I thought that Lumine and I must have been hibernating in space for centuries on end. But the logs show that our spaceship flew over the skies of Teyvat once before. A long, long time ago.
Flew over? So you didn't land?
No. The ship barely came to a stop before flying on again. After that, it continued traveling through space for a long time. Some of the data is corrupted, but I suspect that it kept flying for thousands of years.
It's very important. They wouldn't have mentioned it. And, I mean, out of all the flight logs, this is obviously what's being taken from the flight logs, right? So we can assume there were a ton of flight logs and he summarized, our traveler is summarizing what he read in the flight logs, right? So it's important that it slowed down but didn't land. So it could still be to where Primordial One may have been a part of our ship to a point, but not the AI.
It was only after that that the ship made a forced landing in KRAI.
This scene fucking irritates me beyond measure, by the way. What kind of a fucking flying ship doesn't record dates in its flight log?
Exactly. Dude, I said the same thing going through it.
Isn't nearly good enough at answering the question of when the AI could have first made it to Teyvat. However, this first flyover is the only possibility that the AI could have left to become the Heavenly Principles, because it can't have been 500 years ago. And I guess during that quick flyover in which it never landed, gave itself a form, again, a form powerful enough to immediately battle 7 Dragon Lords.
Exactly.
And then the ship just flew away. There are some problems with this, the most obvious one being the Pioneer vessel's sole purpose was to create a world for the twins. It has information on the twins, like when they were born. It created clothes for the twins. Hell, it even dreamt of the twins on a new world, yet for some reason, as soon as it found a world with potential, it immediately hops ship and sends the twins on their way for thousands of years. And without the AI of the ship, how is the ship meant to find a hospitable world for the twins? The AI is on Teyvat, so is the ship just on autopilot for the next couple thousand years? Aimlessly?
Thank you. Aimlessly, possibly hitting rocks, huge risk. I don't care if you're on autopilot or not. If people are space traveling, you could get hijacked. There's got to be other people space traveling. What's to say that you send the ship back out after you land as the Heavenly Principles, and who's to know if your ship's gonna fucking return with your 2 little precious twins on it? You don't know. It's way too much of a risk. Any AI that would think that's a good idea is a dumbass AI and honestly deserves everything that's coming for it, if this ends up being the case.
Through space? Now, what's funny about this specifically is I know some people have been trying to link Thanes' arc, you know, the year of the arc's opening and the year after the arc's opening with this Pioneer vessel, but this doesn't really work given the most recent artifact lore quite literally tells us, quote, the ark was moored, the matter of creation complete, the mountains and rivers were wrought in their turn, beneath the earth and deep within the seas dwelt the fallen...
Wait, this is the recent artifact lore?
And broken...
Who says that AI is only at one place at once? That shit is a dumb point. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but like, we're gonna say the universe is. I mean, yeah, I guess you could argue in Honkai. Yeah, we could talk over like vast distances. I'll give you that. But look, it's everything here is speculation. But if I have to go off of the stuff that really makes sense, I don't see them like having it going down there and also on the ship at the same time. I don't see that happening. It could, but my belief is that it didn't.
Kings of the old world, the lord of the world within the eggshell drew a false veil to shut out the true bedeviled skies, obscuring dread that once robbed kings of sleep, and even those who held dominion over
And then even if you want to argue that point, it's like, okay, the AI split itself up into 2. But, I mean, we know the splitting thing could happen, right? But it's like, at that point, is it different? Do they take on different forms? Like even Xandar, like when he split, each of his fragments do like a different thing. They focus on a different thing. I don't really know if the Tories like focus on different things, because it seems like every time we encounter the Tory, he's always up to no fucking good, doing something evil. So like I don't know if they have like different objectives, but I'm pretty sure Xandar's was like Lygus, for example, had like that objective, like that was his goal. While the other fragments might not have that specific goal that Lygus had, or like that specific part of the original one, the original first genius. So while it's possible that the AI could split, it's like at that point, are we still talking about one AI splitting its mind into 2 and keeping equal values, or are we talking about 2 different AIs that originated from one AI?
Beasts. But remember, the ship never landed that first time it flew over Teyvat, so when could this ark have been moored? And what's more, how would the Heavenly Principles have had access to the genetic vaults if the ship never...
Hold on, let's go back for a second and hold on, because I want to make sure it's all in
context.
The
ark was moored, the matter of creation complete, the mountains and rivers were wrought in their turn, beneath the earth and deep within the seas dwelt the fallen clans and broken kings of the old world, the Lord of the world within the eggshell drew a false veil to shut out the true bedeviled skies, obscuring dread that once robbed kings of sleep, and even those who held dominion over beasts. But remember, the ship never landed that first time it flew over Teyvat, so when could this ark have been moored? And what's more, how would the Heavenly Principles have had access to the genetic vaults if the ship never landed on Teyvat? Because
that too, that part, that's a good point. Yeah, what about that? Addis, go ahead, argue. Come on. I said, prove it wrong. Come on. I said, prove it wrong. But the Heavenly Principles in nature of Teyvat are very supported to be computer-like in nature. I don't think, now here's the other thing too. I don't necessarily, they could be computer-like in nature, but is it the same AI that was in our ship? And just because they're like robotic in nature, I mean, yeah, I guess you could argue that it is like if a robot is an AI, but it's like, okay, it could be a robot, but it's not the same. It's not the same robot that's in our ship.
as soon as the Heavenly Principles
It didn't come from like the same place.
arrived, they squared off against the Sovereigns for 40 years and then terraformed the planet for the next 400 years. Then humanity came into existence. Was the vault itself just ripped from the ship and then just like stored somewhere until this was all done? Because again, the ship never landed on Teyvat, and what's more, why wouldn't the Traveler have mentioned that the genetic vault was gone from the ship, if it is gone? Now, I have my own general thoughts.
Yeah, true. Why wouldn't they mention the genetic vault at all? Like, if it was supposed to be in the ship and we had that from the outfit, it probably should have said something about that in the logs, right? So, like, yeah, I didn't even think of that. Is there anything still in the ship? Well, probably not, no, because that's the whole point, right? Is that Teyvat is made up of the things in the genetic vault. With this whole theory. Possible to get the Gen 1 genetic vault, possibly. What kind of entity violently follows rules with no emotion? A computer? Yeah, but see, that's the point, is you could see that whatever was writing whatever was writing the outfit lore, whatever was writing the outfit lore clearly did have the emotion. But it's also like saying that the AI is the one that's doing these things to have the emotion. You know what I mean?
On Teyvat, and what's more, why wouldn't the Traveler have mentioned that the genetic vault was gone from the ship, if it is gone? Now, I have my own general thoughts on what happened during that first flyover, but it pertains far more to the sibling than it does the Heavenly Principles. But to make a brief point, if the first flyover is indeed when the sibling first landed on Teyvat, then the supposed AI of the ship simply cannot be the Heavenly Principles, because then that would require at minimum 3 trips the Pioneer vessel would have made to Teyvat, unless you truly believe that the Abyss sibling was here since the dawn of creation, before even the 4 Shades were here, in which case,
which seems
why would
crazy.
Asmodee, one of the 4 Shades, call both the twins Outlanders, when in this scenario, the sibling would have been on this planet not just before Asmodee, but for upwards of over 10,000 years.
Yeah.
Outlanders.
Yeah.
Your journey ends here.
Exactly.
To me, this is probably the biggest question mark, because it seems like either the sibling hopped off at the same time as the AI, in which case they've been here for way too long, or we need a 3rd trip to Teyvat in the past that never happened, which means the AI can't be the Heavenly Principles, but, you know, we'll talk more about this Tuesday. Regardless, other points I see brought up promoting the theory that the Heavenly Principles is the ship's AI, or the sibling.
Wait, what's Tuesday? Tuesday's today. What do you mean? You're talking about, what, is you dropping another thing Tuesday? No, drop another thing today? They might have used the resources on Teyvat and gene engineer it, bioengineered HP cell primordial water mixed with genes. No, but nothing was created. Nothing was here. Oh, well, it's like, just kidding. I'll take it back. Obviously, certain things were here. It is, I mean, it's possible that he took certain things, like, yeah, I mean, look, see, don't get it wrong. This is all new information. So that's what kind of people assume before, is that he used resources that were here to make everything. So it's like, yeah, he may not have even used this genetic vault to make everything that was here. If we're saying that the you gotta back up and make sure we're referencing which theory we're talking about. If HP equals AI, no, but that doesn't even line up. See, it's tricky because I'm crossing theories with one thing I believe and one thing that I'm trying to, or one thing I'm following. It's also entirely possible the Shades have no idea that the twins are related to the HP. Dude, how would they not? How would they not? If the HP, if you're saying the HP is the AI, and the HP supposedly split himself up into 4 shades, how would the HP not know, or how would the Shades not know that the twins have anything to do with the AI? Come on, bro. That doesn't make fucking sense. I mean, it is possible. I'm not gonna rule out anything, because anything's possible, right? But just like they could make it possible, but it doesn't seem like that would make sense to make possible, is my point. Dude, the HP doesn't say shit. Buddy is slumbered. But they could have used... Hold on, I'm trying to go back to the original HP. Through his shades and the land of Teyvat, made his rice, right? That was the original thought. But now, that's the thing. Now we have this genetic vault. So now we have to try to see if this genetic vault plays a role into the HP. And it could. That would be a cop-out story writing if that were the case. Yeah. Okay, but how does the genetic vault play into the role, or play into the land of Teyvat? The genetic vault could play into the land of Teyvat by being the thing that spawns the people of Teyvat, right? Okay, so if we follow that logic, then the land of Teyvat and the people of Teyvat are made of the genetic vault of the ship, right? So if the people of Teyvat are the people from the genetic vault of the ship, then why would the HP nuke his own people? That's the problem. I guess I could just say, my thought is that the ship AI got hijacked by whatever is the Heavenly Principles. And I'm not saying that the Heavenly Principles can't be another AI. I'm not saying the Heavenly Principles can't be another... It could be a fucking octopus for all I know, okay? It could be anything. But I do not believe that the HP head is our ship's AI, is our ship's AGI, is our ship's anything. It could be another one. That is completely possible. But I do not think it has anything to do with our ship. The theory being the shade of space prevented them from leaving due to the world being made for them, and them leaving would invalidate the AI's goals. Like, I've heard that, but in that case, it's not like trying to make a world better for them if it's like being a helicopter parent at that point. And while I can't agree with you that, like, yeah, Asmodee was trying to just keep us here, like, it not only kept us here, but it split us up, set us on different timelines, set us on different journeys for what? For what? It's not just, oh, go to your room. It's not just locking a medicine cabinet. Like, it's literally throwing us into different times and sending us on different journeys for why. Two twin AI in third person. That's how I see it. I see our ship was consistent. Yep, gotcha. Two twins, AI, and a third person. Like, I do understand the point of Asmodee keeping us here for a reason, possibly to lock us into this planet. But then you're gonna argue it's like helicopter parenting type of thing, and that just seems weird. Because it's not just, oh, go to, like I said, it's not just, oh, go to your room. They're literally teleporting us through time and sending us on different journeys. Like, what the fuck? For why? For what? How does that make anything a better world? If the twins are supposed to be king and queen, how the hell does that set us down a good path? What, to teach us a lesson? Is that really what it, I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna say anything is impossible. But like, really? Is that what it's gonna be? It's gonna be a big parenting lesson at the end of this game? That's where we're gonna go? First gen bioengineered using dragon genes to turn them human? Well, but that's what I mean. It's just like, okay, well then but the point is like, I'm following what you're saying. First gen are not from the gene. Are you saying the first gen of humans aren't from the gene vault? And then he waited. Now, see, here's the thing. If the gene vault is still on our I mean, it could be on our ship, by the way. But let's say the gene vault was never used. If they could somehow say that, that would kill the whole, my thought of why would he nuke his own people, which in that case helps the HP is AI theory. But that's one of my biggest pauses right now. Asmodee may do it for her own reasons. Yeah, we do. Yeah, I mean, yeah, true. See, my thought with Asmodee doing what she did, right, is I think I think it's clear that our AI on the ship had the terraforming purposes, had these abilities to do these certain things, right? And timelines are still very weird, but if our AI is involved with the use of Teyvat in any way, shape, or form, it's not because it's the Heavenly Principles. It's because what is the Heavenly Principles is using the ability of our AI to create the planet. So therefore, Asmodee would, being a part of the Heavenly Principles that is using our AI, would try to lock us into this planet because it doesn't want us to escape. That's, like, in my head, how I'm processing the motive behind Asmodee with the whole all the new lore drops. If that makes sense. I think that makes sense. Otherwise, I mean, yeah, she could very well have her own reasons and be doing it for something totally different. Nothing to keep us here. I mean, who the fuck knows, right? But that's what makes sense in my head. Okay. Back up a little bit here. Let's continue.
AI, in which case they've been here for way too long, or we need a third trip to Teyvat in the past that never happened, which means the AI can't be the Heavenly Principles, but, you know, we'll talk more about this Tuesday. Regardless, other points I see brought up promoting the theory that the Heavenly Principles is the ship's AI are the similarities between the ship's capabilities and that of Fane's. The ship's capable of terraforming worlds, Fane's is capable of terraforming worlds, but is this really all that uncommon? In a dying universe where available worlds shrink by the day, I feel like you'd come to expect that supreme beings moving around the cosmos freely are each carrying their own genetic vault to repopulate the world with their own beings. It's like being impressed that a submarine brings its own oxygen, or being in a zombie apocalypse and everyone you find is a gun. You know,
that's fair.
Certain circumstances just create scenarios in which certain things are required. In a dying universe, the ability to terraform isn't, I wouldn't argue, evidence of singular divinity. It's just the bare minimum for anything claimed.
And if we're even going to the fact of the reason why he's nailing his own people is to prevent them gaining knowledge for the Honkai to come, then we're linking the Honkai universe in, and then we know damn well that the Honkai universe could terraform fucking planets. We know they have that ability. So it goes more to this. Always remember how AI tends to work. It works towards a goal. How it gets there doesn't need to make sense as long as it gets there. It's Skynet logic. Its goal is to create a world for the twins. Anything that gets in front of that goal causes issues and needs to be stamped out. That could be as simple as the beings advancing enough to leave. Yeah, but if Are you arguing for the HP being AI or not being AI? Because I can see that. I can see you writing that out for both reasons. Asmodee might have many human experiments in each cube. That's possible too. With HP destroying civilizations, the dead will eventually go to the ley line, so it's possible HP isn't bothered if they know humans could be. I mean, yeah, but you have to think they're not only destroying civilizations, they're poisoning the planet. Like, look at all the after the other things that happen when a nail hits the planet. I mean, look at Sumeru, look at the Withering, look at all these things that happen after. Look at the Chasm. All these things happen after a nail hits the planet, right? So if you're trying to make a planet a great place for your twins and you're fucking up the planet, how does that make sense? Literally, the ship was looking for a place that couldn't be destroyed. It couldn't do this. It didn't want a planet that could go bad, that could get fucked up. But yet you're gonna do things like sending down nails that fuck the planet up. So even okay, if you want to totally scrap out the killing your own people, you're still fucking the planet up. You know what I mean? Like the logic there doesn't make sense. It being a dumb Skynet that works towards a singular goal at any cost. Okay, yeah, but I mean, look at what I just said. Like, you're not creating a good world by nuking your own people. By nuking your own people and messing up your planet. It took you how long? I mean, you have to think. They said they went through hundreds of different planets. They watched a supernova hit a star. They did this, right? That means they're looking for a hell of a long time for a planet. Right? Oh, so then you finally come across a planet and you're going to do things to fuck that planet up? You'd have to be a really dumb AI. Every place it struck had ties to the Abyss, so we know the main destruction in the universe is because of the Abyss. Well, that's the thing, though, because we got the new lore from the Moon Sisters, right? That it was obviously casting down nails even before Nibelung returned, right? Because they saw that it was destroying civilizations, and then they come to the realization that they wanted them to stop, but they decided they wanted it to stop once Nibelung got back, but it was too late, and that's when Nibelung imprisoned them. So they were sending down nails, we can assume, before Nibelung got back, and we really don't know what those civilizations were. So we can't even say for sure that those civilizations were corrupted by the Abyss, 100%. I get what you're saying, it's possible, but like, we don't have full confirmation that those other civilizations did have ties to the Abyss. But I do think, like I said, if it is that dumb of an AI where, one, it landed here during the first loop around and then decided to send its ship out for possible destruction and then returned years later, luckily enough to return years later, I mean, like I said, I think that's a dumb AI in itself. There's a lot of possibilities. That's the thing. There are so many possibilities. I remember what Venti mentioned about Ymir body becoming island. What is the land itself? Remembered how it was terraformed and the whole planet was plague. Imagine all the land are covered with dragons and monsters. Well, yeah, I mean, you can say that about our planet too. I don't think that makes our planet alive. Our planet is littered with dinosaurs. Fossil fuels, brother. Okay, hold on, alright, back up a little bit.
I wouldn't argue evidence of singular divinity. It's just the bare minimum for anything claiming cosmic mobility, I'd argue. Creation here isn't just a miracle, it's just what happens when press that a submarine brings its own oxygen, or being in a zombie apocalypse and everyone you find is a gun.
Oh, terraforming, everyone can terraform,
circumstances just create scenarios in which certain things are required. In a dying universe, the ability to terraform isn't, I wouldn't argue, evidence of singular divinity. It's just the bare minimum for anything claiming cosmic mobility, I'd argue. Creation here isn't just a miracle, it's just what happens when survival meets competence. And what's more, look at the world of Teyvat. It's brimming to the teeth with humans, the species the heavenly principles were expressly stated to have brought here numerous times. Quote, 40 winters entomb the flames and 40 summers churn the seas, the 7 sovereigns were vanquished and the 7 nations submitted to the heavens, the primordial one, the great sovereign began
That's
the
a new
creation
picture.
of heaven and earth for our sake, that of its creations which it cherished most, who would soon appear upon this earth. Quote, the primordial one had a sacred plan for humans. As long as they were happy, it too rejoiced. Quote, perhaps it would be best to keep your distance from the humans who were brought here by the reaver from beyond the sky. Now, while we don't know what species the twins were carrying in their vaults, it might not have been humans. I'd like to note what the infamous K.K said to the traveler entering the world of Teyvat. Quote, the world you knew is but dust, and the wonders you knew but rubble. Though you should have your own worlds and your own people, lamenting what is already lost. This wording only makes sense if humans are not the traveler's people. If they were, the statement would be nonsensical. You don't tell someone they should have their own people when they have those people. The phrasing implies absence, not identity. It frames your people as something separate from humanity and not presently embodied in Teyvat's humans. In other words, while humans aren't the traveler's people, they're what lies ahead. And now, speaking of the traveler and their sibling, I'm a bit confused by their journey. Previously, there's been many voice lines that speak of the traveler actually visiting worlds.
So here in Mondstadt, alchemy is practiced out on the streets?
Is that so strange?
In many of the worlds I've been to in the past, alchemy has always been a secretive art.
And confirming with their sibling that this was their journey.
There's just one thing I have to ask. One thing I could never understand. Why? Why can't we continue our journey together?
If Teyvat was the end-all be-all and was truly meant to be the final destination, then why would the siblings state they cannot go to the next world yet?
Home. Yes. Of course. Home is wherever we are together. But I cannot go with you to the next world to find a new home. At least, not yet.
Now, with all this said,
Well,
it's not like it's
that
bad.
line.
You know, there are some points that work in favor of the theory, you know, like the nature of Teyvat's laws and their rules being similar to that of a system set in place by a non-organic life form, in which case it makes sense why the Heavenly Principles goes from 0 to 100.
Like I said, though, I still think that the Heavenly Principles could be a different form. This doesn't necessarily mean that the Heavenly Principles aren't some type of AI. It's just, it's hard to believe that there are AI, the same AI that's on our ship. I think I set the ship off to look for more potential worlds. In the meantime, I'll terraform to prep the planet. Just because I found a candidate didn't mean it was the only or best. Also, if we do go with the AI ship theory, it kind of crazy that the ship was advanced enough to overpower the super advanced dragons civilization. It's kind of crazy that a ship. Well, aren't you going with the AI ship theory? Didn't you say you like the AI equals Heavenly Principles theory? The our ship AI equals Heavenly Principles theory? But the whole letting us off to or the whole it jumping off and letting it terraform thing, but then sent us out is, I just find kind of hard to believe, because why is it going to let us out, or it's going to jump out and then send us off to look for what? Like, why not just bring us down there with them and figure it out? You're going to risk us, your precious cargo, while you terraform the planet? I don't, if we're in stasis pods already, I just don't see that making too much sense. And like, yeah, you could say, oh, the AI split itself, right? Like the AI, part of it went down to the planet to terraform and the other part of the AI stayed on the ship and led us around so it didn't crash. Okay, cool. But then what's still the point of us, like, if you didn't think the planet was good enough, why even try? Like, it clearly had enough potential if things are already living on it. Like, we obviously can share the same climate with the dragons, right? Because they're still partially alive, right? We can still share the same atmosphere as the dragons, so that he didn't have to really do much terraforming. What terraforming actually happened? If we're still sharing the same atmosphere, what had to really be done? Oh yeah, no, no. You can point out flaws. That's what we're doing. That's what we're here for. I'm not, like I said, I'm not disregarding any theory, right? I'm just, you know, placing my opinions in there. That's all. I'm taking it all. That's why I said come disprove, because shit, that's what we got to do. We gotta figure it out, bro. That's what shit. We're all trying to figure it out. Clearly, the ship is more durable than Dragon Tech, but to be so advanced and be advanced in an entire civilization is wild. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. But I think that's why I just think that the Heavenly Principles overall is a fraud. I do. I don't think it's our ship's AI. I think if anything, like I said, the Heavenly Principles took our, like, somehow hijacked and is utilizing our ship's AI. And it also stole some of the moon's power. Dude, but the dragons still live here. There's still dragons here. Just because they're cold-blooded doesn't... I mean, snakes are cold-blooded.
When someone breaks a rule, and it's because that would just be its directive.
They might be... See, you can argue against it by saying, okay, maybe it was... a crazier environment that only, like, maybe the dragons can live in a much crazier environment than us, but the fact that we saw certain dragon civilizations living in what seemed to be the exact same environment, like the whole, I mean, Natland, bro, like Jiquato, all of them were still living on this world as it was. Like, it's not as though they were inside the middle of a volcano living. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, I don't think it needed... at the end of the day, I don't think it needed much time to terraform anything. If at all.
You know? Like the nature of Tevat's laws and their rules being similar to that of a system set in place by a non-organic life form, in which case it makes sense why the Heavenly Principles goes from 0 to 100 when someone breaks a rule, and it's because that...
Wait, hold on. I gotta back up a little bit more. I need the context. I do think there's something going on with the elements. I always reminded of what was said about Dragon's death in Nihida's quest. Well, yeah, I mean, the elements, I don't know if you guys have explored the world yet, but there's another thing, shit, where was it? I'll look at it after this quest, but there's another note on an island somewhere. If you go over to this island, there's a note here that explains, it goes into the creation of things. Look at this. I'm just gonna pull it up quick, and if you want to pause it and read it while I continue, go ahead. But, like, it's this note. Okay, now I'm continuing. That talks about, like, the Hyperboreans kind of discovering that they can wield the elements off of their natural discoveries, which is pretty interesting. What is this? Is this a new set high thing? Like, is this the default thing on YouTube chat? Like, what is that? Our pep lives in the desert. I don't think she has the best air quality. Point is, we could still be there, though, right? There's still people living there, right? It's not as though it was unlivable. It wasn't unlivable. Okay, let me back this up so I can get full context here. Hold on.
Together. But I cannot go with you to the next world to find a new home. At least, not yet.
Now, with all this said, it's not like it's bad, you know, there are some points that work in favor of the theory, you know, like the nature of Tevat's laws and their rules being similar to that of a system set in place by a non-organic life form, in which case it makes sense why the Heavenly Principles goes from 0 to 100 when someone breaks a rule, and it's because that would just be its directive.
Only this was far beyond mere punishment.
Right. Their rules brought order, but the price people paid for merely testing the limits of those rules was far too great.
Further, this would kind of help to explain the Intivat.
Oh, and I'm rewinding this one more time.
All the things that work in favor
so I
of
can
the
make
theory,
sure I understand this part.
Like the nature of Tivat's laws and their rules being similar to that of a system set in place by a non-organic life form, in which case it makes sense why the Heavenly Principles goes from 0 to 100.
Rules set in place by a non-organic life form. But, like, even so, like, he's not even arguing against the... Like, yeah, you can set the rules in place, but it's still supposed to be your people that are there. So you're basically saying that the AI still kind of is, like I said, it's just an AI that has one goal, and that's to protect the twins. But then, like I said, at that point, it doesn't make sense for the nails because you're still destroying the planet. It's programmed rules, but by what? Okay, see, it's programmed rules by what? If you're right, it could be programmed rules, but by probably something else that wasn't on our ship. I don't think it had whatever its original reading was, whatever its original intentions were hijacked straight up. I think that's my belief. And AI doesn't have people to follow those goals. I hear you. But you can assume that the AI was told the original rule to find a planet for us, make that planet for us and the people in the vault, in our genome vault, our seed vault, whatever, right? You can assume that was its initial directive based on what it said in the outfit, right? That's its initial directive. If somebody programmed it going into the ship, that's what its directive was. But now it seems like that directive has changed. Which is why I'm saying I don't think that HP equals AI. HP could be using our AI. HP could be rewriting what our initial AI's goal, but still using the tools and the capabilities of our AI. It'd be like somebody hijacking fucking chat or something, like to take over the world. Like, I don't know, bruh. Like, you could. That's why I think it's important to clarify too whether it's you know, AI or AGI on our ship. Is it actually sentient or is it not? No, I get where you're going with the once you give it a directive, it'll do anything to meet that directive. I get where you're going. But my point is, even with the directive to, let's say, protect the twins like you had said, it still doesn't make sense to send the nails down and break the planet, because you're not protecting the twins at that point. So that would be the AI making an error if it is just the AI. But, I mean, yeah, like you're saying, though, I mean, real AI, you tell real AI to protect humans, and then ultimately, yeah, it could end up destroying humans. I mean, I see what you're saying. It could just be, it's a flaw in the logic if it is our AI. The only way to protect humans is by taking humans out. But, I don't know. The reason I say I don't think it's that is because of the fact that it kind of showed emotion. I mean, it's kind of creating the outfits for us and giving that emotion there. I don't know. To me, it doesn't line up with the logic of the AI. While it could be true, I'm more of a believer that the AI, you know, got taken over or somebody's redirecting the AI.
When someone breaks a rule, and it's because that would just be its directive.
Only this was far beyond mere punishment.
Right. Their rules brought order, but the price people paid for merely testing the limits of those rules was far too great.
Further, this would kind of help to explain the Intivat mystery. You know, how could the Intivat be a native of the flowers of the Traveler's homeworlds and Conria, and only Conria? But I'd argue a much better answer is potentially provided in the most recent Archon quest, and that being the Sibling, because...
What if the genome vault was just for the flower? Thoughts? It was just for flowers. It wasn't even for humans. It was just for flowers. It was just for the flowers, just for the flower to put in our hair because we liked it a lot and we thought it was cool looking.
Khaenri'ah itself was independent of any god, so why would the Heavenly Principles specifically place the Intivat in Khaenri'ah, which hadn't even been founded until the end of the War of Funerary Flame? However, above all else, there's one specific interaction between the siblings that I'd argue adds the most credence to the idea the ship could in some form be the Heavenly Principles.
At the end of my journey, I arrived at a place known as the Sea of Flowers at the end. Do you remember? A long time ago, when we traveled between worlds together. You told me you wanted to find a place in the universe where that one flower was in full bloom. To have a place like that suddenly appear before me. Well, would you think of that as a coincidence?
You mean...
I miss you too, Ether. But as this war continues to rage, and as I continue to seek that final answer...
Given again, the ship knew the twins intimately. The idea this field of flowers would suddenly appear doesn't seem like a coincidence. The ship simply could have made the field of flowers for the traveler. But again, someone would have to explain why the AI of this ship decided to solo adventure on this world while leaving the twins, or just twin, for, you know, on their lonesome, drifting through space for thousands of years, without ever a real certain possibility they'd ever fucking land on Teyvat. Because if the AI is here, then how could a forced landing have been made on Teyvat? Yeah, they're not really compatible. You know, so that's where I stand on this whole thing. I'm leaning towards a no, but that doesn't...
I agree with that. I agree with that, but I also do accept the argument that it could have split itself, and it part of it could have been on the planet, and part of it could have stayed on the ship. But
doesn't mean I don't think there's a connection between the ruler of the skies and the twins. Maybe the connection is the unknown person who gave the twins a wind glider and warned their journey would be more dangerous from here on out. Quote, your journey will become very dangerous from now on, so that person told you. I don't know if this cloth will do anything to protect you, but it was indeed so. In your long journey, you have seen the birth and death of stars as they pass you by, scattering the darkness briefly before being consumed once more. This cloth will block neither heat nor cold, nor will it defend you from curses and ill will. But when you face a force enough to destroy one or even two worlds, you do not truly remember who it was who had treated the two of you ever so gently. You wish you could remember. When you face a boundless darkness or an all-consuming radiance, but that was one world ago. Or maybe the ruler of the skies is simply the mysterious K.K who introduced the travelers to the world of Teyvat, but even then, one would have to explain why, you know, it's not really the best time to introduce him to the world of the Teyvat, given, you know, the traveler first came during the Cataclysm, and we don't really know when the other twin came, but clearly they didn't have a good time. Okay, bye.
I honestly didn't go into that expecting him to say off rip that he disagrees. Honestly, I thought he was going to be on the train too, and I was going to sit here bringing up points the whole time. But honestly, yeah, I at my core of my body agree that it's not the same as our ship. What do we got here? It's not a flaw in its logic. It's a consequent in goals. If a human could shut down an AI, then it's a threat to its existence. And yeah, I get what you mean. I think that makes I think it makes sense, and I agree that 100% makes sense and could be an outcome of everything. I agree with that. I think the HP, Nuke might have known that they will be corrupted by forbidden knowledge of some kind, and necessary evil is set. Playland being corrupt will ruin the Irminsul. Yeah, but like I said, if it's not just the humans, you're still ruining the planet that you're looking so desperately to find to grow your little twins on. That's the second reason why I don't support the HP nuking if HP equals AI. Yeah, I mean, alright, if AI could just be very primitive AI, you know, like a couple generations away from us type of AI, where it is just a basic AI that, you know, analyzes its goal and kind of goes towards it no matter what and doesn't take in to account emotional reasoning. I do watch, I've watched a couple CatWithBlueHat video. Actually, he was on the list to watch today. He was on the list to watch today. But if you look at, like, you know, something like Screwellum, where, yeah, it's obviously, I mean, it's a robot, so it's some type of AI, AGI, right? Right, you know what I mean? But that still is able to calculate things at a mass scale, but then also take into account, you know, a purpose, like some type of emotional reasoning. So while it might not be a flaw in logic necessarily, if it is using, you know, the nails to take out civilizations, it's still a flaw in AI, because that's not like, it's just very primitive AI. It could just be very primitive AI. But if it's supposed to be advanced AI that can, you know, terraform and do all this stuff, I have a hard time believing that it's primitive enough to also not take into account emotional reasoning to an extent, to not kill its own planet for the traveler. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like both things can't be true at the same time. Check out this video, how the traveler's new outfit confirmed the true identity of the heavenly principles. Is that, whose is that? It's from Bane. It's good to remember that the traveler's ship made a forced landing on Nod KRAI. Could it be the AI calling the traveler's ship back? Traveler's ship made a forced landing. Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, it could be possible that that's why the ship did crash land here. Is because, I mean, yeah, I mean that's an argument for HP equals AI, is that it did land here when it slowed down thousands and thousands of years ago, and the reason it crash landed is because an AI wasn't driving it, and when it just got called back here, it just crashed. I mean, it's like a Waymo or something, you know what I mean? It just fucking got the signal and just came and crashed. I mean, that's true. That's a good point. It's possible. CatWithBlueHat's video is pretty good, but the comment section brought up a ton of good points too. Oh boy. Okay, we'll go get co-op HP because I'm gonna watch another. Okay. What the hell does it mean co-op HP? What is co-op HP? All right. So do we want CatWithBlueHats? Okay, we'll do CatWithBlueHats. Then we'll look at the one Raiden's saying. Let me do oh yeah, I had this on my watch later. Give me 1 second. Let me pee really quick. I need to pee. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. If you haven't played Luna 4, please stay. Just stay. Just get spoiled. Just stay. Have a conversation. Okay. CatWithBlueHat, how an outfit leaked the complete story of Genshin Impact. The complete story, guys. Really? Is that where we're at? The whole story. Helicopter parent confirmed, possibly? I am nowhere close to subscribing to the Paimon. Paimon, I've said this before. Paimon has been Asmodee, Paimon has been a moon sister, and now Paimon's AI, okay? Tomorrow, Paimon's gonna be a lavender melon, okay? I'm sick of subscribing to anything that Paimon is. You know what? I'm not putting Paimon into any theories or thoughts or speculation because I'm over it. When Paimon gets revealed as to what she actually is, she'll be revealed. But I'm not going into the whole Paimon thing. I can't do it anymore. All right, here we go. Oh, I gotta read his. Oh, his music's always so loud. We now finally... Off rip. We're just gonna jump into Paimon after saying that. Okay, that's fine. We know Paimon's true identity now, motherfucker. Yo, go back through his videos and see how many times he said this. Honestly, go back through his videos, her videos, their videos, and find out how many times they've said this. But I guarantee you, it'll be at least 5 times. The only thing we know about her is that we know nothing about her. Exactly. Exactly. And even the reason why the game itself is called Genshin Impact. When we visit the moon with Columbina, she tells us that this is where a spaceship has been hidden from the start. The traveler soon decides to check its flight logs.
I always assumed that this was my first time in Teyvat. I thought that Ether and I must have been hibernating in space for centuries on end. But the logs show that our spaceship flew over the skies of Teyvat once before. A long, long time ago.
Flew over? So you didn't land?
No. The ship barely came to a stop before flying on again. After that, it continued traveling through space for a long
time ago.
Some of the data is corrupted, but I suspect that it kept flying for thousands of years.
Imagine NASA being this loose with their numbers. Yeah, we'll get to Mars in like a couple years, give or take. Couple years, good enough. Yeah, hell yeah, you'll make that landing, buddy. Like, come on, dude. So the ship had been near Teyvat thousands of years ago, but it didn't land and instead continued its journey through space. In space, the traveler assumes that their sibling got off the ship during this time.
When Ether found me, he came from outside the ship. Could this mean that he left the ship long before I did? Maybe even during our first pass over Teyvat?
This is a red herring. I think this is a red herring. I think this is a red herring right here. This is meant to mislead us, in my opinion. I don't believe our sibling got off greater than 6,000 years ago.
Maybe even during our first pass over to...
Well, I guess we don't know 6,000 years ago because it is just thousands of years. But either way, I don't know.
That.
However, what really happened during this brief encounter is already described in the new outfit's description. This is really the talk of the town, huh? Turns out that their spaceship was a pioneer vessel. Equipped with an AI that can effortlessly transform any suitable planet at will. It is able to reshape terrain, change air, and rebuild a whole ecosystem. All for the sake of creating a world where the twins can live. The AI seemed to be searching for a planet with potential. Which might mean a world that can resist abyss better than others. I can agree with that. This planet can be a barren volcanic land and not even have a star to orbit. Yet it's everything the AI has the ability to handle as long as it finds potential in it. After thousands of years in space, Teyvat was this one planet it found suitable. Yep. The ship also contained a genetic vault along with the twins. Yeah, which I think... So while the AI arrived in Teyvat, the twins were still hibernating in the spaceship as it left Teyvat. I am not, no, dude, I'm not with it, bro. I'm not with it. I do not see it, man. I do not see it. It does not make sense, bro. Like thousands of years just gliding through space, doing fuck all, wasting fuel, potentially blowing up. Even, here's the thing, right? Even if you want to argue that the AI split in two, something was still autopiloting the ship as some form of AI, and the AI went to the planet, like, you still run the risk of fucking getting blown up. Like, you still run the risk of some solar explosion. You still run multiple risks for thousands of years. Thousands of years that something can go wrong. I hate that. I don't like that. It could be true, but I really do not like it.
Did not reject them at first, nor did they seem to harbor ill intent towards this world. We coexisted in peace. They were like a guest in our home.
During this time, the AI fought dragons and became known as the Heavenly Principles.
Slowly, however, we came to realize that our guest had a growing desire to change and dominate the world.
Later, we discovered that this great ruler of the firmament bore an almost paranoid hostility toward the desire of certain life forms to seek power. Or perhaps they feared them. They would even cast down celestial nails as manifestations of their power, to punish the civilizations of the world below.
While it did all this, Nibelung was still outside Teyvat and had yet to return. The Heavenly Principles created the Four Shades, and transformed the whole planet to be more habitable. After which it created all humans, likely from the genetic vault it brought along. So the reason why the Traveler, despite being an alien, has a body constitution that perfectly matches other humans in Teyvat.
But the integral preliminary conclusion that I can offer you is you're very much like a human from this world.
I mean, yeah, I think that is proof enough that the genetic vault definitely has to play some type of role in what was what created the humans here, right? But that still doesn't mean that HP equals the AI 1-to-1 equally. Like, it doesn't.
But the integral preliminary conclusion that I can offer you is you're very much like a human from this world.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that it is the genetic vault, though, either. Who's to say that, the Heavenly Principles isn't like a previous, I want to say Voyager, but I don't mean Voyager in the way that everyone thinks I mean Voyager. A previous space Voyager who left our old planet and ended up here himself, herself, their self. Like, we're just assuming that we're the only person to leave our old planet in this form. Calling this a third person knows how to brainwash a twin. Every human is a descendant of the genetic vault that they carried in their spaceship. When the AI left the spaceship, it must have changed the ship's navigation such that the twin ship will return to Teyvat when it is finished terraforming the planet. believe this means when Teyvat becomes their homeland. More specifically, when the world has a sea of Teyvat flowers. Why else would the siblings suddenly find Teyvat flowers they have been searching for? Conveniently growing in Teyvat.
At the end of my journey, I arrived at a place known as the Sea of Flowers at the end. Do you remember? A long time ago, when we traveled between worlds together. You told me you wanted to find a place in the universe where that one flower was in full bloom. To have a place like that suddenly appear before me? Well, would you think of that as a coincidence?
No, I'm just saying, and before the genetic vault was only in Teyvat, it had nothing to do with humans.
You mean?
Heavenly Principles did all this just to welcome the twins to their home. Yeah. All while nuking its own people. Okay. However, once Nibelung returned with the power of the Abyss, the Heavenly Principles' plans were disrupted. Hey guys, welcome back to the planet full of flowers. Oh yeah, by the way, yeah, I nuked the planet so much that everything's irradiated. Yeah, you can't eat anything. There's no food anywhere. All the other civilizations are dead. You guys don't have any friends. What else? Oh, you have to live in a bunker. What else? Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Must have exhausted its resources in defeating the Dragon King. It can only be partially operational for thousands of years, right until the Cataclysm. Wait, what? Hold on, I was talking. What are we talking about? Oh, Nibelung returned with the power of the Abyss. Heavenly Principles' plans were disrupted. Oh, okay. Exhausted its resources in defeating the Dragon King. Can only be partially operational for thousands of years, right until the Cataclysm. Oh, it's saying, oh, okay. I went through again and I was still fucking confused. It's saying the AI exhausted its resources and then went to sleep. Oh, wait, hold on. So he's about to cook something we haven't touched on yet. Right before it was about to shut down, someone else took advantage of the Heavenly Principle's weakness. Someone found the truth about Celestia and realized that Heavenly Principles was an AI. And that it had special data referencing two special beings. That someone was Harapatir who predicted the arrival of the twin ship. Provided the predictions you requested, the two stars have been captured by the world's gravity. After a lengthy orbital period, today their paths shall intertwine once more. Likely based on the instructions Heavenly Principles left for the twins' return. This is how King Ermin of Conria was able to locate our ship and intercepted our return route to Teyvat prematurely. He used this information to crash our ship in KRAI and summoned our sibling in Conria?
It was only after that the ship made a forced landing in KRAI. When Ether found me.
Wait, what? Who intercepted? Harapatir? Is that what he's saying? The AI had special data. Harapatir found out that the AI had special data. Which is how King Ermin was able to locate it. And intercepted our return route to Teyvat prematurely. Used this information to crash our ship in KRAI and summon our sibling at Conria. Who is he? Am I stupid? Who used the information? Is he saying that King Ermin crashed our ship in KRAI? How the fuck would he do that?
only after that the ship made a forced landing in KRAI. When Ether found me, he came from outside the ship.
Herman used a sibling in his plans of Abyss, all at the same time the traveler remained in hibernation aboard the ship. Yeah, but wasn't the point that people were trying, or like in the game, Thelindus was trying to get the sibling away from King Ermin because he felt like a sibling was more influential on King Ermin than King Ermin was on the sibling. This makes it seem like King Ermin was more influential on the sibling. If I'm following what he's saying correctly, I think I am. Now we have another primary reason for why the cataclysm happened. KRAI had prematurely ended the twins' journey and used them. The AI's masters against the world they were supposed to protect and live in. Hold on. So are we saying that he's saying before the AI went to sleep, Harapatir figured out that the twins were part of the AI's whatever, right? System, whatever. Figured out we would be coming back, and then King Ermin, crashed our ship. Which would have been, the Heavenly Principles would have still been alive, because he said before they go to sleep. Which in turn is the reason why Conria got nuked. Because we stole the twin, which is the purpose of the AI, is to create a land for the twins. You can't tell me the AI didn't see that coming? Yeah, but you're gonna tell me this almighty AI who's been nuking civilizations for centuries, millennia, just so happened to get outsmarted. Am I lagging? Why am I dropping frames? Hold on. But that they've been nuking places for millennia, and now all of a sudden this dude was just able to get in there and really figure it out and crash land our ship and steal the sibling for an extended period of time. We got kidnapped is what this is saying. Without it being, yeah, not only stole them, but bring them to their side. Look, I get stretches, but holy fuck, brother. It had its functions ruined after fighting the Dragon King, so it likely wasn't at full power like he said. Bro, functions ruined for 5,500 years? Like, okay, you still go 5,500 years, and then you just so happen the time you decide to go dormant is sending down one more nail into Conria? You go dormant 500 years ago, and that, what was that? What was that, the final use of his power? Bro, you gotta think, this would have been 5,500 years after. How's an advanced AI going to fix itself when it's broken? I don't know, but I don't know. I feel like this is a huge stretch, bro. No, he's saying that the AI was damaged in the fight with Nibelung. That was 6,000 years ago. Conry happened 500 years ago. So he's had his functions ruined after that fight with Nibelung for 5,500 years. And then it's just a coincidence that once we get stolen, supposedly according to this, we get stolen, we get our ship crash landed into the planet by King Ermin and kidnapped. And we still, right now, our sibling still wants to fight for Conria. We just saw him like fucking 4 patches ago. And totally switch sides. And then it just so happens that he sends down this last destruction into Conria and then goes dormant. That was his final straw. Go back when they got information on the twin arrival. However, right before this took advantage of its weakness. Like, dude, so many things have to line up. So many things have to line up for this to happen. So many things have to line up for this to happen. I mean, King Ermin crashing our ship? Is that even... Is that even in his capabilities?
It was only after that the ship made a forced landing in KRAI. When Ether found me, he came from outside the ship.
Like, I get it. It could have definitely, like, been whatever it is, could have been weakened. But, like, I'm following along with his theory here, and I'm okay. Yeah, if you want to say it was weakened, cool. But the whole Ermin crashing our ship, and then getting kidnapped and us, and then that final cataclysm, and now he's been tired, or he's been asleep ever since. That too is like, I don't know. I feel this is a hell of a lot of speculation. Hey, crazy if true though. Yo, look, real shit. Bro is shooting one, and crazy if true. That's the problem, right? I might not think it happened, but I will admit that this could still be true. Everything right here could be true. This has potential. Wait, hold on, what? Another reason why the cataclysm happened. KRAI had prematurely ended the twins' journey and used them, right? The AI's masters against the world they were supposed to protect and live in. This must have violated the AI's ultimate protocol of protecting the twins, which then resulted in the cataclysm. After which, the heavenly principles went into hibernation. When dealing with the abyss, brought along by KRAI. The book Hymns of the Far North, the writer states they shouldn't say the god's name outright. Oh, yeah, true. Okay. Which is why they obscure the heavenly principle's name as Pikkamunin. But they also refer to as the Lord of the Seven Calamities. Oh, I did want to relook this up. As a rainbow balloon whose string goes beyond the sky. Oh god, what? All I have to say, look, I'm not even giving an opinion here. All I have to say is go back over the past couple years and refer to how many times it's been so sure that Paimon is blank. That's it. That's it. This is kind of crazy, though. I'm not going to lie. What the fuck? Bro, but how would they know that? Dude, how would the Hyperboreans know this, bro? I mean, Connery had the Crimson Moon locked in a pocket dimension and were researching it. They were also super advanced. I mean, yeah, they were super advanced. I mean, I guess it is possible that it could have shot down our planet, but like, fuck, brother. Or our planet, our ship. But damn, dude. Crazy. Like I said, though, it seemed like King Ermin was being more influenced by our sibling than King Ermin influencing our sibling. You know what I mean? Because that's why Thelindis wanted to get our sibling away from King Ermin. But I guess that doesn't really mean anything. It still could be true. Like, it still could be true that, like, they were just using us. I mean, it's, yeah. That is kind of crazy. I'm not going to lie, because it could literally be anything that Pickamoon could realign into. That's kind of crazy. That's all I'm saying, though. It's kind of crazy. We've seen plenty of videos how Paimon's Asmodee too, right? All those things. Thelindis wanting to get us away from King Ermin because she felt like ever since King Ermin was around our sibling is when shit started to go bad. But that's what I'm saying. I don't think that I'm saying that, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I'm just saying that's like kind of weird too. The underlying principle of the AI to guide the twins in the universe remains the same with Paimon. She's the human part of heavenly principles that disassociated from the AI. Whereas the AI part is what's called Paimon. It's a system that sends us mail. If you notice, the name itself has the letters AI inside of it. Holy shit! Holy shit! Wait! No way! Did you guys see that? If you spell Paimon, there's A and I inside of it. Holy shit, that's it! That's it! That's it! That's the fucking answer! That's why we can resonate with the statues of the Seven and the Seven Elements. As it's literally designed for us. That's why the Irminsul, a creation of heavenly principles, has data ley lines. The reason why teleport waypoints can't be used by anyone else. Because they're made specifically for us by this world. The world exists for us because we willed it so. That's why the new outfit is called As Heaven and Earth Are Made Anew. Why the game's menu is called Paimon Menu, and because it's the creator of this world. The AI system that governs the world, or in other words, the Genshin god of Teyvat. But since it's the twins' AI, it is a world ultimately created by us, for us. Fubu, baby. Fubu, baby. We are the Genshin gods, and this journey is our impact in this world. Hence, Genshin Impact. He's got it. He's got it. That's the answer. Lock it up. Wrap it up. That's it. That's it. Wrap it up. That's it. Ha. I'm done playing now. That's the answer. We got the ending. That's it. That's it. That's the answer. No, in all seriousness, there are a lot of things. Obviously, we've been talking about forever how the planet of Teyvat, a lot of things represent a computer system, right? I mean, the ley lines, teleport waypoints, us interacting with the statues. We've talked a lot about how the computer acts as a computer system. And my biggest gripe with anything is that while it's true, I believe it could be true that our AI is part of the world. However, it is not the primordial one. That's it. That's as simple as that. Pioneer artificial intelligence for monitoring, observation, and navigation. We'll like it. We'll like it. What do we got? What, comment section? Let's see. Yeah, because somebody was saying, a couple of you guys were saying that the comments could, the comments brought up a couple things. It feels like this channel should get hit with a celestial nail for these theories. Real. Well, this is some forbidden knowledge. Gives further evidence to my theory. Okay. Anything specific? I kind of, oh, I thought you said there were certain things that argued against this. What was the chessboard one? I mean, that's the thing, though. There's plenty of things there's plenty of things that can agree with the planet shares computer-like similarities. But the question is the HP AI. I guess that's not what he's saying. No, that's not what he's saying. But, like, I had said that I agree that the planet could be influenced by, like, a different, that HP could be a different robot from a different planet. I don't know. But using RAI, I don't think RAI equals HP is my point. We never have enough information. That's how they keep us playing, brother. Look, if you expect, we're never going to get enough information from them. There is no way. Paimon has a pattern in the world's formula in her wings, which gives me fuel to this fury of she's being the AI. The Paimon token was kind of wild, I'm not going to lie. But that's what I mean, yeah, we see things like this. How about we explore a new area later? Like, that just is, again, we've talked about this. I mean, it's been talked about since the beginning of the game. What if it's a computer simulation? Ever since we saw Ermin's Soul, it's just like, what if it's a computer simulation? That's why I said, if anything, I think our AI has been hijacked. I just think it's the fact of RAI being the HP specifically, like both equal. Well, the theory, like the ending part of it, obviously is everything we've had. Like all this resonate with the 7 statues. We got the teleport waypoints, the ley lines, all that. Great. But this whole part, that King Ermin crashing our ship, us getting kidnapped, that part stretch. Yeah, so many things have to fall in line for that. So many things have to fall in line for that. And like, let's say that the AI did fall out of the ship thousands and thousands of years ago, and that was the original plan. Whatever happened to it, fucker got reprogrammed, bro. I'm telling you, if that's the route they're going, it is not the same as we left it. Which would honestly make a little bit of sense too. I'm not gonna watch a video that was posted minutes ago. I don't want to, like, not as though there's like a lot of people in here, but like I don't want to just with certain things. I'd rather wait a day. I don't want to infringe on anybody else's territory. You know what I mean? It's just kind of a respect thing. So I always give it like a little bit before. This was 12 hours ago. Well, GG, I already killed it. But whatever. I didn't look at it beforehand. Everyone just fucking recommended it, so whatever. But if it was just a couple minutes ago, I'd rather wait. But anyways, if the AI did come down thousands of years ago, if we run with that, it kind of makes sense that the Moon Sisters might have gotten along with it at first, but then something else just if we want to say it's the AI, something came along and hijacked it. Like, I don't know, man. Something went wrong with the AI. If the AI, if we want to say the AI equals HP, something went wrong with it. That's just not the way it was supposed to go. Its motivations and actions are 100% in line with an AI like this, how they typically depicted in fiction. Nothing is out of the ordinary. I mean, I hear you. I hear you with that. Like, there's certain things, but it's a very primitive AI then in that case. And I don't feel like it's a primitive AI. Like I said, strictly because of the fact that it showed some type of emotion by making the outfits for us. If it was able to show that type of emotional reasoning, it wouldn't be able to not show emotive reasoning later down the line. And then continue to nuke its own, and continue to do the things it did. You get what I'm saying? Because it's not as though... and like I said, it's all possible. That's just my take on it. That's my take on it. If I remember correctly, there was a time when the HP was all nice and benevolent or whatever, then something changed and it switched personality. Was it before Sun and Moon? I have no idea. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. If you find it. Yeah, but my point is primitive AI, like when I'm saying primitive AI, I mean AI that's maybe a few generations further than where we're at right now. You give it a task, it does the task, right? Like I'm talking our real life right now, like 2036 AI. Like you give it a task, it does the task with fucking like flawlessly, bro. Like it does what it does, what it's told to do. Boom. Without emotional reasoning though. Because that's what I'm saying by primitive AI. It doesn't have like emotional reasoning. But I think this AI, our AI on the ship, did have emotional reasoning to an extent. I don't know to what extent, but it had something there if it made the outfits for us. Okay, there was... Okay, well, thanks, CatWithBlueHat. It is fun to always look at your theories. Especially when this is the talk of the town. The talk of the town is all at a fucking outfit we found on a spaceship that only gave us thousands of years. And nothing more than that. What a crappy flight log we have. What a crappy flight log we have. What is this? Year of Jubilee? What? The year of the Ark's opening, the Primordial One had a secret plan for humans. As long as they were happy, it too rejoiced. The year after the Ark's opening, the people worked the land, and so came the first harvest. The people mined, and so reaped the first crop of precious ore. The people gathered, and the first poems were written. The year of Jubilee, if there was hunger, the heavens would bring down food and rain. If there was poverty, the earth would bring forth its riches. If melancholy were to spread, the heavens would reply with their voices. If one taboo was to succumb to temptation, but the path to temptation has already been sealed. All happy, all nice. Okay. Funerary year, the second throne of the heavens came. A war was rekindled, and it was in the world's creation. That day, the heavens collapsed, and the earth was rent asunder. Our ancestors and their ancestral land fell into this place during that conflict era. Yeah, but see, okay, that's not when he went crazy though, because he had already been sending down abyssal nails before Nibelung returned. Look at what the moon said. The moon said that he had been destroying civilizations, and that's why they wanted to step up and stop him. He had gone mad. He had already gone mad. They wanted to stop him, but then when they went to actually go stop him, that's when Nibelung showed back up. Supposedly. Oh, the line about the outfits came directly after a line about a threat of radiation, and it was said the outfits were modified around that idea. I don't think emotion had anything to do with it. I mean, it was reasoning. No, the emotion didn't come from it making the outfits. The emotion came from the outfits being set on their stasis pods like a blanket. And that could be me over-interpreting it, but like, that just... But then again, I also argue against myself because I say that it seems like a third person is in the ship with us because the whole outfit isn't written in the first person. It's written in the third person POV. So the emotion could just be being shown by that third person, if there is a third person. Like I said, so many possibilities. Well, right, that's what I'm saying. But that then brings it up. Okay, who's the narrator? Right? Who's the narrator? Is the narrator a third person that was on the ship? Maybe they're the HP. But then if that third person's the HP, do you still run into the same emotional problem when it comes to casting down the celestial nails? Yeah, like I said, it could be me overanalyzing it, but like, I think it still holds some weight because there are things that are in first person. Like they give us text from I mean, look at the Ordo, look at Assassin's Creed Ordo. Like we get so many different perspectives, and those are all, you know. I mean, those are letters though. To be fair, those are letters. Those aren't necessarily lore tidbits from like weapons and outfits and stuff. That's true. What we can say for sure is that the twin travelers' purpose was the same as HP's, or at least they were doing the same thing. I mean, it seems like it, where they're trying to make the perfect civilization. I mean, he's trying to make he's trying to bring economy back because he believes that that's their home now. Okay, I'm going to grab food really quick for 2 seconds, and then we're switching topics a little bit. We're switching topics a little bit because this. At this point, it's just, there's so many different ways to speculate, but I think I've made my stance clear on how I feel about it. But I want to watch, I want to watch stuff about the world formula because I feel like the world formula was one of the most confusing aspects to me personally about the Luna 4 quest because I really don't know what the fuck it did. I know there was a world formula involved, but I really don't understand how it impacted what happened. Like, yes, it got activated, but what actually happened? So, I want to visit that. But give me 2 minutes. I am going to grab food really quick, so take a piss break, go get a drink, go grab some popcorn, do something. I'll be right back. I also want to make it clear that I do respect all opinions and theories. And that everybody else should too. Because none of us know. Unless you're a writer for Hoyo. Dude, imagine being that guy. Imagine being that guy or girl who's cooking this shit up. They're already cooking up fucking, like, Snezhnaya stuff. They already got KRAI already written. You know what I mean? And they're just sitting back. They're watching all these videos like, these goddamn idiots don't know a thing. These idiots know nothing. Look at them speculate about all this crap. Ha! Little do they know, they're gonna totally change their minds next patch when we hit them with the next lore drop. You thought there was one spaceship? Haha, motherfucker. There's two! Two spaceships now. And they're just sitting back laughing at us. Straight up laughing at us. Alright. How Marionette saved Columbina with the world formula. How did she do it? How did she do it? What is the world formula? Please explain, because I can't be the only one confused about what exactly the world formula, like, how it impacted the quest, right? I feel like it was also just the way it was told. Like, we kind of just, like, saw it in the top of the screen, and then it just kind of activated, but it just happened. Right? Like, I don't know. Let's see.
Spoilers for the Luna 4 Archon quest. Hey,
Spoilers.
It's me, Roosevelt. Wow, I'm really excited to talk about this Archon quest. First of all, I'm shocked. I've done like 50 million videos on Narcitzenkreuz talking about Jacob Ingold, but his name is actually pronounced Jakob? What? Second, I think I'm in love. Because honestly, that hangout with Dottore was probably one of the best dates I've had in a really long time. Third, chat, did you happen to hear distant screaming on Wednesday morning? Because that was me being jump scared by Time Trekker appearing in an Archon quest. If you are unfamiliar with my game, I made an entire video about it almost 2 years ago, and I can't ever shut up about it. And now, Hoyoverse has given me explicit permission, and instructions even, to morb about it forever and ever, amen. Not today though. Because this quest has some really interesting callbacks to old world quests, and boy, they want us to know about them. The Marionette scene with all the notes was probably confusing to many. Like, what are the 4 Orthents, and what's the world formula for, and who the hell is Carter? Fortunately, your resident nerd Sitzenkreuz is here to explain what I think is going on, specifically with Columbina's rebirth and the world formula. So first, let's recap.
Oh, we get a full Luna 4 summary from her perspective,
yeeted herself into a moon gate, and now she's stuck in a weird time space. She encounters strange mirrors which allow her to experience moments of the past, each one going further back in time. These are not memories though, and they're actual moments she can interact with through Kuvaki. And remember those weird moments during the past quests, like the mystery ally during the Rear fight? Yeah, that was Columbina from this space. She realizes that in each of these moments, Luanatar was present, except for when the traveler first arrived. Turns out, she planted part of her soul as Luanatar in that moment.
No way, that's what happened?
She encounters Rear, who has chilled out. Then she encounters Thelindis' afterimage, who tells her that her research in Conria led her to conclude that time in this domain flows in reverse. So, she wanted to go back in time to kill the sibling, because the sibling's arrival marked the start of the Vinster King's madness. But her body—
That's what I was saying in the other video. See, like, Thelindis wanted to get rid of the sibling.
like immediately couldn't withstand the space, so that obviously failed. Columbina then reaches the end of this time, where she meets the 3 Moon Sisters. Turns out, the Moon Gates are just portals to the Moon's reflection, which Nibelung used as a prison for the Moon Sisters. There are only entrances, no exits. The only reason Columbina was able to enter those mirrors is because part of her soul anchored her to the real world. That is, Luanatar. And the Moon Sisters tell her they've never heard of Kuvaki, and she realizes that Kuvaki is her own power, and the golden light guiding her was light she left for herself. Okay, pause. I'm not going to get into the details about time in this video, but if you're confused about what was going on, in the meantime, you can look up the TV Tropes page on You Already Changed the Past. Or you could also watch my video on Time Tracker. Anyway, on the flip side, Scoob and the gang are trying to figure out how to stop the Doctor, which at this point requires a moon goddess. They discover a note written with Kuvaki where Columbina explains her situation. She did this during one of her strange mirror encounters while in the moon's reflection, traveling back in time. They also realize that the mystery ally and the book ghost were both Columbina. Meanwhile, Marionette is being driven insane by the fact that her scans are showing 3 moons plus a 4th, which is Dottoro's artificial moon marrow. She's researching Narcissenkreuz and trying to calculate the world formula, which would predict the fate of the entire world. And eventually, she realizes that Columbina may well exist in a form unimaginable to us, and she's done something truly inconceivable in the past.
I understand.
At some point, then, they realize that maybe Luanatar might also...
I understand. It's find variable that affects fate be able to change fate. X fate affects... Never mind. I'm not even going to try to throw in, like, X's and Y's and all that shit. But, yeah. I mean, yeah. That.
Also be Columbina's doing. Nefer uses her magical sight on Luanatar to see Columbina's memories, the same way she did with Rayrir's fragments, which Columbina predicted she would do eventually, and thus the team learns her plan. This prison does not allow for divinity or souls to escape, so Columbina had to die, just as Barbeloth's death card predicted. Most of Columbina's soul would be left in the moon's reflection. However, a part of her soul anchors her to reality in the form of Luanatar, and through this connection, her soul can be pulled back to reality. She also hid the Trilunar Authority on the Frost Moon, and her body became moonlight, the Kuvaki that bathes KRAI. When these can come back, together she will be reborn. Okay, pause. The question then is how exactly to implement this. Okay.
What is that? Is that King Tut?
Pause. The question then is how exactly to implement this. Marionette pieces things together, saying that 1, the world formula has to be calculated to get her back, and 2, the moon has to be brought closer within the firmament. Marionette, in her diary, describes the plan in other words. By using Luanatar's, a fragment of Columbina's soul, connection with a variable in this world, Descender, we aim to retrieve Columbina's complete soul.
Like, right. I understand this, but what was the... Like, it had to get to 90% and then 10% from the Frost Moon or Columbina to finish. Why did it need to...
The survival of the Traveler is a necessary condition for success. Anyway, yeah, they bring her back, and Dottore gets crushed by a moon, just like Chewbacca did in the Star Wars Expanded Universe. But with regards to Marionette's plan... That's still a really mysterious plan that has no real explanation.
That's what I'm saying, right?
His voice line highlights the mystery around it. Marionette died, and all because of the technique she used to bring me back. So I'm going to...
I haven't read through Columbina stuff yet. Hold on, what is this? I'm not sure what counts as death for a puppet. All I know is Sandrone isn't moving, and I can't feel her operating. Her key has just stopped, and all because of the technique she used to bring me back. She said she was going to get back at me that one time. How I wish that's all this was, just an attempt to scare me.
Died, and all because of the technique she used to bring me back. So I'm going to explain what I think happened here. And they've...
Oh, wait, so, okay, so it is. It's just, we don't really know that. So we don't really know what she did. It just, that is what she did. There is no further explanation anywhere. Okay, yeah, tell me what you think, because I honestly have no idea.
Thrown all the Narcissenkreuz stuff into the quest for a reason. So, Let me first summarize the story of Narcissenkreuz, and then I'll circle back to why it's important.
GameCube? You saw those.
René de Petrichor and Jacob Ingold are both from Poisson in Fontaine. Their parents were killed in the siege of Poisson, which happened slightly before the Cataclysm, and they would be sent to an orphanage called the Narcissenkreuz Institute.
Croissant.
There, they would befriend Alain Guillotine and his sister, Marianne, as well as a random guy named Carter Scherbius. The director and vice director would leave to go help out in the Cataclysm, and they would never return, disbanding the Institute. René and Jakob would be adopted by the adventurer Carl Ingold. They would go on an expedition to Sumeru to research Connery and technology. Jakob almost dies, and René uses Abyss power to make him a neo-human. But this expedition is where René would calculate the world formula, which Conneria had also calculated previously. The world formula is a mathematical prediction of the end of the world. The world left behind would be inhospitable to life, such that not a single mint or sweet flower could grow. And mint can grow like everywhere, so that's saying a lot. So René had calculated this over and over and over again, but it would always yield the same result, the apocalypse. So, the entire motivation behind everything René...
And his was the one that said we were on the last cycle, right? Or there was one more cycle, right? Because they were in the previous cycle, technically, right? Maybe? If I'm remembering that right?
Narcissenkreuz did is to avoid this apocalypse. René and Jakob would grow up and join the Institute of Natural Philosophy, where Alain was working. Both René and Alain were geniuses, but had widely differing philosophies, with the former pursuing the esoteric and occult, and the latter focusing on machinery and technology. Carter ended up being Alain's research assistant, although according to René and Alain, he was unreliable and kinda stupid. But they were all longtime friends and cared for each other. So when Carter ended up getting sick and was dying, René would try to save him as he did Jakob. This failed horribly, though, and it turned him into some sort of abyssal monstrosity. After learning about what René did, Alain would end their friendship. René then left the Institute and founded the Narcissenkreuz Ordo. Also, Alain's sister Marianne had joined the Marshalsea, and would eventually die in a scuffle against the Narcissenkreuz Ordo. And now it's hard confirmed that Alain created Marionette in her image. In the Narcissenkreuz Ordo, René would still try and figure out a way to stop the apocalypse, and he took a new research direction based more on Remurian ideas. He cooked up this idea to use the primordial seed to dissolve everyone and condense everyone's consciousness into a singular will that could survive the apocalypse.
You know what? In his defense, it was a little bit better. I'm always against collective consciousnesses for the most part, unless it's like last minute, like it's a red button you can hit that triggers it. If you ever played Destiny, is when we got the light expansion, Destiny 2, or the light, what was that planet called? It was the Year of Light, or whatever the hell, light, I can't remember the whole name of it. But like there, where they were about to get totally wiped out, and they had to go to collective consciousness just to survive. Like, in his defense, it was kind of like that, but he did it he was still trying way too prematurely. Way too prematurely. Like, some of the times these guys, they just set their goals on, yes, this is the only answer. They get so hyper-focused on it that they don't think of anything else to solve the answer. So they just get, oh yeah, we have to go collective consciousness, that's the only answer, and yeah. And I feel like the genius mind in these games leads towards that because it is so difficult to accomplish. So they love the difficulty of it, and then also the appeal of a utopia being a collective consciousness. But like, it just never works out, bro. Never works out, man.
We end up stopping his plan, but René, or rather Narcissenkreuz, realizes that their calculations were wrong anyway. He didn't account for variables, and in this case, a variable is a descender, traveler. Although he did recognize that variables could save the world from the apocalypse, and that's why he tried to become a descender himself, as part of his plan. But obviously he failed. At this point, we can circle back to the Archon quest and why exactly Marionette was researching Narcissenkreuz. Because I think it has to do with the underlying elements of how René was going to pull off his plan to save the world. The plan centered on using the Holy Blade of Reason to condense all wills into a singular one. This is where my video gets very speculative, so disclaimer. Also, you can probably infer from the Archon Quest notes that this also gets rather abstruse. So let's talk about the Holy Blade.
The Holy Blade.
So Marionette complains a lot about the 4 orthants. The 4 orthants refer to 4 substances, in quotation marks: memory, wish, soul, and persona. The Narcissenkreuz Ordo was able to recreate these based on the arts of ancient Remuria and Conria. During the Narcissenkreuz questline, we attempt to gather these substances, and we find that they're massless. Caterpillar, who was once an Ordo member, explains that these substances are purely experiential. But the entire reason we were gathering them was to obtain the Holy Blade of Narcissenkreuz in order to stop Renee's plan. The Holy Blade of Narcissenkreuz, or rather...
You would think it's the Excalibur, but the Excalibur is actually a Nod KRAI. Have you seen the real Excalibur? You seen the real Excalibur? This is the real one. That's the real one right there. That's the Excalibur right there. Or there's the one, when you bring all the wolves together, there's one that's up here, I think it is. No, it's up here, actually. But you can't interact with it yet. You have to, it's probably going to be Varka who has to interact with it. Because he says he doesn't detect the Boreas in your soul or whatever the fuck. There's some wolf up there that says it. Same way you can't interact with this one. I tried to pull it, bro. I sat there for like 3 hours, just left clicking and it would not come out. I'm not the chosen one. I'm not Arthur, brother. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. I have a feeling I know who it's for. His name starts with V, and that's all I'm going to say. It might end with Arca, but sheesh, I don't know. Real one is a rusty sword and Mondstadt. Oh, fuck, true. Shit, you're right. I forgot about the real... the real Arthur. Maybe we bring him to that. Okay,
the Holy Blade of Reason can only be born out of consummate will, and it's forged from the 4 orthants, or substances. In the Narcissenkreuz quest, we gather the 4, and with a drop from Anne, who has a great will, the wooden toy sword is transformed into the real Holy Blade.
The real Holy Blade.
The Holy Blade was previously used by the Ordo to excise the soul from the body, that is, separate the mind from its physical form. But it can also be used to combine them back. So like, after Renee accidentally turned Carter into Gross Carter monster goo, Carter was kept alive despite his illness, albeit in a hideous form. Later, Renee attempted to transcend but failed and was also left in a bad state. After that, Jakob would use the Carter goo to not only rebirth Renee as Narcissenkreuz, but also to impart consciousness into Caterpillar, using the Holy Blade. But really, the Holy Blade can do almost anything. The Holy Blade can cut through anything, including the strongest will. And even further, it's indwelt with great enough reason and will to create and destroy a universe or even a dream. So, the Holy Blade is quite a powerful tool, so you can see why Marionette might be intrigued by its components. But here's the point.
We could have let her use it, maybe she would have survived.
Caterpillar says that there is symbolism behind it being a sword, but really, the Holy Blade can be anything that holds reason. It can indwell any form, even a person. Because consider this, when you first encounter Narcissenkreuz, he senses reason. And he later makes this point very explicit. The Holy Blade need not be a sword. It could even...
That's right. That's right. That's right. The 4 things combine into the sword and forms reason. I feel like we've heard this story before. I remember this.
Even be a gold-haired outlander. And this is because Traveler is a descender, which Renee realizes during the fight. And also, just consider the language surrounding the sword, which seems to mirror that of a descender. One whose will rivals a world and can create, sustain, and protect and destroy a world. Now back to the KRAI Archon quest. Marionette's diary entry emphasizes the importance of Traveler and their connection with Luanatar, and how critical their survival is. Because a descender with the function of a holy blade can take pieces of someone and make something whole again. Just like how Jakob used the holy blade to rebirth Renee as Narcittenkreuz and also put consciousness into a Hilichurl. Again, this is just speculation on my part, but
no,
this
that's a good point.
To me just looks like
I see where she's going with this.
Or recreation of Narcittenkreuz rituals. Now, I personally think this is a really neat explanation, but you might have noticed I didn't mention something kind of really important. It was also crucial to calculate the world formula before getting Columbina back. So, let's talk about that.
This is the part that's super confusing.
To recap, while in Sumeru, Renee first calculated the world formula based on Conrian knowledge. He kept redoing the calculations, having Jakob check them, but the end result was always the same, the apocalypse. This mathematical prediction of the apocalypse prompted Renee to do everything he ever did. Now, the quest stumped me a bit because I thought they would use the world formula in a similar way to Renee, figure out the constants, the variables, and so on, to read the fate of the world and cook up a plan of action. But that's not really what happened.
No, we just
The calculation just literally had to be completed as if it activated something.
Yeah.
Now, granted, while trying to do the calculation, Marionette did have a few light bulb moments. But she specifically hid Wanderer's computation core inside Polonia so that the calculation could be completed. Yeah. So, like, what happened?
What happened? What happened?
And this brings me to chemical marriage. Marionette also comes across a lecture on the seal of chemical marriage. The seal of chemical marriage dates back to times even before ancient Remuria. It was a gift from the Golden Bee, or Angel, Sibylla, to Remus, the God King. It became a magical technique within the Golden Troop, and would eventually be discovered by the Narcittenkreuz Ordo. In the Narcittenkreuz questline, Caterpillar explains that the seal of chemical marriage was an ancient Fontanian ritual meant to seal off the source of life, or the Primordial Sea. Jakob had reversed the seal, and that's why more and more primordial seawater began to appear in Fontaine. For example, when we were in the Fortress of Mirapede.
Yeah, and it fucking
but here's
exploded.
The thing. Even though in this scenario it was used to seal off the source of life, the seal of chemical marriage seems to have a much broader application. This lecture describes the seal as an interpenetration of ontologically distinct orthents. Or I guess to put it in simpler words, an overlap or intertwining of things that have a very different essence. And Renee also says that this process is about transcendence. What we speak of is an act of overlaying your dream upon the dream of gods. This language might remind you of what I just said about the Holy Blade, about how it can cut through anything and create and destroy a universe or even a dream. We've been given a drawing of the seal of chemical marriage, and I just want to quickly break down the structure, but just as another disclaimer, this is heavy speculation. I'm trying my best. Starting at the bottom, you have the circle of 4 orthents, and at its center, the tree of emanation. Renee compares it to a pie with filling, with the orthents flowing from the roots to the center of the circle. This represents the origin of reason, or more literally, the forging of the Holy Blade. Above that, you have 4 particles representing the metaphysical origin of the marriage. These are collectively referred to as the kingdom. At the top, you have 3 particles which set the magic of the marriage in motion. These are referred to as the firmament. The overlap of the kingdom and the firmament constitutes the vertical pathway for transcendence. And the overlap itself is considered a marriage because it represents a union of 2 through a mediating medium. Okay, I know that was a lot, but honestly, I think Renee is just on his bullshit here. It's just a magical technique, a spell.
Bro, that shit was fucking dank. I don't even, like, what? Should we rewind that? I feel like I gotta rewind that. Bro, what? Hold on, we gotta rewind that real quick.
The tree of emanation. Renee compares it to a pie with filling, with the orthents flowing from the roots to the center of the circle.
Dude, like, I remember watching Ashikai's full video on this, but dude, that was so long ago.
This represents the origin of reason, or more literally, the forging of the Holy Blade. Above that, you have 4 particles representing the metaphysical origin of the marriage. These are collectively referred to as the kingdom. At the top, you have 3 particles which set the magic of the marriage in motion. These are referred to as the firmament. The overlap of the kingdom and the firmament constitutes the vertical pathway for transcendence.
The overlap of the firmament and the kingdom allows transcendence.
And the overlap itself is considered a marriage because it represents a union of 2 through a mediating medium.
2 through a mediating medium.
Because it represents a union of 2 through a mediating medium. Okay, I know that was a lot, but honestly, I think Renee is just on his bullshit here. It's just a magical technique. A spell, you can even think of it.
Look at it upside down. Alright, I'm looking at it upside down. Oh shit, I kicked something. Now what? Now what?
Through a mediating medium. Okay, I know that was a lot, but honestly, I think Renee is just on his bullshit here. It's just a magical technique. A spell, you can even think of it. I mean, albeit a very, very powerful spell.
This may be easier to explain by comparing it to the...
Oh, you meant in the domain? Oh. I had to re-record last minute. Audio was scuffed? Oh, GG, man.
Kabbalah, which the seal of chemical marriage is essentially based on. Disclaimer, I'm by no means an expert, and I'm simplifying this up.
That'll be 2 Big Macs, sir. 2 Big Macs. And a large Coke. The fuck are we doing here?
Very, very powerful spell.
This may be easier to explain by comparing it to the Kabbalah, which the seal of chemical marriage is essentially based on. Disclaimer, I'm by no means an expert, and I'm simplifying this a ton, but my friends Saber and Schwan have written about this before, so I'll link that in the description. So at the bottom you have the physical world.
Oh,
and at the top,
fuck.
the divine.
I remember all this. This is where I remember. Oh my god, yeah, dude. Because, oh fuck, I remember Ashikai going into this shit, dude. And then she went to like 3 different, I swear, there were probably like 3 different ancient civilizations that used something similar to this or something. I feel like I remember her listing off a couple different places that would use the same.
Different nodes or aspects of the divine connect the two. Going upwards is transcendence and spiritual elevation, but going down is manifesting the divine in the human world, or creating physical reality. This is all similar to what Renee says about chemical marriage. It represents the union between the divine and human. The vertical pathways represent transcendence. But he also says in the lecture that deconstructing and reversing the process can also be useful. You know, perhaps by manifesting the divine into physical reality. This is interesting because if you compare the progress monitor to the schematic, which is drawn right next to the seal of chemical marriage, the pathway flows down. So it makes sense to me that the Holy Blade would be the final step, combining the abstract divine back into physical form. But in terms of this being a magical technique,
we know they're big on their ceremonies, but there's like no whiff of instructions, not even an incantation. But the lecture does say this. Observe and compute the pathway displayed in the guidance diagram. Deconstructing and reversing its effects could generate potential ideas. Solve the first half of the equation, leave the second unattacked. So it sounds like these pathways of vertical transcendence to make the magic happen has a mathematical aspect to it, one that can be calculated. This is to say, the world formula may have acted as a calculation for a pathway. if this is the case, I imagine it had to be the world formula, because Dotori achieved godhood, and the very fate of the world was at hand here. So again, speculation, but perhaps think of it this way. So we have all of our ingredients, basically Columbina's fragments, a catalyst, the Traveler acting as a holy blade, and the instructions, or the world formula, to make the magic happen.
Ooh,
also, as a side note, this does make me wonder about something Marionette said. When she ran out of computing power, she said Renee probably used the Primordial Sea when he was doing his calculations. But he first calculated the world formula when he was in Sumeru. Maybe it was a simpler version, but it makes me wonder if they reversed the seal on the Primordial Sea to also use his world formula in a similar way. That is, condensing all the wills of Fontaine into a singular will using the Holy Blade. But I'm just thinking out loud right now, so... But to summarize all this in...
Imagine that the world formula is the actual map in the Traveler homeland to see the circles as planets and places the ship visited. Yeah, that'd be crazy, right? Hey, I mean, that'd bring it all the way back, right? I mean, hey, the world formula can't exist without the world, right? And who created the world? You know what I mean?
Razor language. Columbina traveled back in time in the moon's reflection and died. She scattered her remnants, her soul mostly still trapped in the moon's reflection, but anchored to the present via Luanatar. Marionette turned to Narcissenkreuz's ideas for a way to put her back together, specifically a magical technique called chemical marriage. It required a calculation for a pathway, which solving the world formula provided, as well as a holy blade in the form of Traveler, who is a descender. To really simplify it, you have your ingredients, a catalyst, and the instructions to do a spell, or magic, or alchemy. And that's how I think Columbina was reborn. The end.
Is it like... Fuck, dude. I mean, I get it. It's like a demon ritual or just a witch's ritual where, like, you have to place the symbols on the ground, right? And then you have to do everything within that symbol in order for it to work. And nobody really knows what those symbols ever do, right? But they're always just there. Is that kind of what? Is that kind of... But I want to know what the symbols are doing.
Well, I hope this made at least some sense. I really appreciate you guys enduring this, and I hope you even enjoyed it. There are a lot of things I didn't touch on as well. For example, when Renee calculated his world formula and the destruction of the world in the apocalypse, he noted that it sounded very similar to a Remurian concept called Fortuna. Oceans will rise, empires will fall, and the only constant is change. So Remuria...
Yeah, right, like an alchemy seal. So the world formula had to reach that 100% in order to form the alchemy seal, which then allowed our sword to act as the interaction, and our sword, Luanatar, and Columbina to all basically form together. It's kind of like lighting the fire in order to boil the water or to cook the meal. Like, we needed the fire, and the world formula was like the fire. It was like the catalyst. Oh. The catalyst.
Also faced a prophecy of destruction, but this was different for Renee because he calculated or predicted that this fourth cycle would be the last one, like for realsy.
But the thing is it's like Columbina... Didn't Columbina herself say that she predicted that having all three together would bring her back to life? But she didn't calculate for the world formula to be involved, right? Unless I'm not remembering that correctly. Pretty sure Columbina said, I put the authority on the moon, Luanatar, and then, like, once all three things come together, boom. But she never really... Doesn't seem like she takes into consideration this world formula. Like from Columbina's POV is what I mean. Traveler world is destroyed, no life, there's a black box, all humanity, planet passes, connection port is like connection to transport of all people's soul from the old planet to take that. That's Jesus. Yo, but I mean, yeah, maybe they all went to like maybe the genetic seed thing that we have is just everyone in a collective consciousness.
But I've said before that I think Renee is kind of full of bullshit and overestimating his abilities. He might even be called a narcissist. And don't get me wrong, he was definitely a genius, but he has a track record of dunking on both Conria and Remuria. Like, I even made an entire video about how I think he's wrong about Conrian alchemy. But he also describes the concept of Fortuna as crude, which I think is very much not the case. One of the notes that Marionette looks at is by Master Ruggiero. Ruggiero was an ancient Fontanian scholar who was looking into the history of Remuria and the Golden Troop, and would eventually be the first governor of Petrichor. But in his research into Fortuna, he finds that it's akin to a symphony, but not just any symphony. These symphonies held a special power because they could be used to control Fontaine, or Remuria rather, because they were connected to a mysterious fundamental power. Let me put this in an even simpler analogy. Fate has been likened to a story or a script or a novel or a play. But in this case, a symphony or an opera would just be the musical version of that. And instead of the threads of fate, you have the strings of fate, like on a harp or any other instrument. And in Remuria, you had something called the Musica Mundana, which is the grandest symphony of all. It's the symphony that truly controls the entire fate of the world, and Fortuna is actually only just one version of it. Now, I know I'm throwing a lot at you now, but I've actually made 2 different videos on this exact topic, so there's a lot of detail involved. So in my previous videos, I've talked about Musica Mundana, but also specifically about how it relates to the IRL concept of the music of spheres. Basically, it's a Pythagorean concept where the movement of celestial bodies creates an inaudible music that dictates the operations of everything in the universe. And again, I realize I'm just dumping a lot of random things right now, but the point I wanted to bring up is that this seems relevant just because music itself is inherently mathematical. Anyway, sorry, I know that was like kind of long-winded, but this is just to say, go watch those 2 videos about Fortuna and Remuria. I think compared to most of my videos, they've aged super well. But also, just some more shameless self-promotion, go watch all my other Narcissus Croix videos, including the one about this one singular line about gold. Just keep in mind that older videos might have some outdated information and wrong speculation. That's all. But back to...
I kind of want to revisit some of these things though too, because obviously this is playing like a huge role, but then I also feel like revisiting a lot of this like Rumeria now and Ordo and just the entire quest, like we get to look at it from a different perspective now, and now knowing the things fresh in our mind, you know, from KRAI and everything like that, I feel like we could look at all this stuff in a different light and kind of make some connections with how the world actually works. Like, more so with how the world was actually formed. Because all of these things can't exist without that initial, you know, that initial formation of the world. So they all have to be in line with what the world initially came to be and how they can... interact with the heavenly principles and the shades. And I feel like we can get some different answers and reach some different conclusions about how all of this is integrated and how the quest is actually going to play out, rather than just looking at recent facts. Like, dude, I want to revisit all this shit because I'm watching all this and I'm like, hearing what she's saying, but I still feel like I'm missing a lot with the whole world formula. Like, I feel like if we go back and actually, like, almost watch that world quest, like, in full, or just read through, I have to read through everything again in full, I might be able to look at it differently based on everything now. Because the world formula thing, like, I still am, I don't know exactly, like, yeah, it's not, we can say a catalyst, the seal, right? That brought everything together, but how? Like, what is the seal? I'm still not understanding that. I'm still not understanding how the seal actually works to get them to form together. And I feel like we should be able to get that answer. Because the thing about Not KRAI was it was supposed to give the conclusion to a lot of these side quests. Or just a conclusion to a lot of these world quests. So I feel like maybe we're not looking at it enough to get the right answer. So we're still kind of speculative, but I feel like we should be able to get the right answer now. But maybe we're missing something. And I mean, honestly, this is very dank to put into, 10 minutes or, well, 25 minutes. But this whole section, like, there's a lot in here that takes some analysis to understand. And context needed to really understand it. And I get, obviously, she's putting it all in a video and recapping it. But I might just, like, visit this again. I really want to understand it. Because the world formula thing was the most confusing part of the quest. And saying it's like an alchemical seal, it doesn't feel like enough for me. It just doesn't feel like enough for me. Magic is not enough for me. You know what I mean? But then again, maybe I'm not totally understanding the way she's explaining it in the video. I don't know. Whatever. We continue. I'll revisit.
Promotion. Go watch all my other Narcissus and Croix videos, including the one about this one singular line about gold. Just keep in mind that older videos might have some outdated information and wrong speculation. That's all.
I think that's good, though.
Back to my conclusion and my final thoughts. I'm also not...
I like when that's the other thing. I like when we can look back at things and be like, oh no, that was wrong. Because then we can reach different conclusions. Like, if we know for a fact things are wrong now, like, that's so fucking dope in my mind. Like, that helps so much. Where there might be things I'm thinking of right now that I didn't hear of her speculate before, but now I can... You know what I mean? Like, I can reach different conclusions just knowing that certain things are wrong.
I'm not going to touch on the time aspect of this quest, at least yet. But if you need something to hold you over, I do self-consistent timelines in quite a few of my other videos. Notably Time Trekker, obviously, but also my Reviving KRAI video about the keys in the last Traveler Sibling Archon quest. I'm also still thinking about that spaceship. I'm also thinking about how handsome Dotori is. God, he's so hot. I'm in the camp that he made more segments after Nahida made him delete them previously, so I think he'll definitely return. Also, Marionette is a robot. She's going to be fixed at the Fontaine Research Institute, and she's going to come back. So you guys chill. Anyway, once again, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Copium, dude.
Comment with your own theories. And check your smoke detectors. Okay, bye.
Bye. W. But at least she put in a perspective that, yeah, it just kind of is that alchemical seal. To kind of bring that all together. For those still wondering about... Wait, I said this! For those still wondering about Columbina's plan from her POV. Here's my reply to another comment about the authority part of the plan. Columbina was able to pour her body into Not KRAI is exactly the same as sending the three Moon Sisters back to reality, using the Trilone powers to send bodies out. Wait, no, this isn't what I said. The prison traps souls, divinity, and authority while they are within a living body. Described by the line, we cannot leave here alive while still being a goddess. Meanwhile... I want to make sure I'm not covering this. I am. God damn it. Always sucks reading comments. I gotta move this. Okay. We cannot leave her alive. Meanwhile, Columbina plans to leave while being dead. So since in Columbina's case is a dead body, which she turned into moonlight, left the prison, it was the only time the authority was able to escape. She even invoked the word "O Power Trilune" to use its power before she basically kills herself after separating her soul from her body and send her dead body out. Wait, no, this isn't what I meant though. I meant like how she would assume this would work in the future without knowing about the world formula, because it seemed like she was so positive that she'd be able to spawn in the current time by just placing her power, awaiting for us and Luana Tar in the future. I don't feel like she mentioned the world not the world quest, the world formula. Maybe she did, I'm just forgetting that part. It will like it's the Hydro Authority after the Hydro Throne gets destroyed, despite the fact that its dragon power is definitely different from Fossilor's god power. Since the Frost Moon is still intact, the Frost Moon Authority has always been there if Columbina is not around. The word hiding just emphasizes the fact that now it's not only the Frost Moon Authority that is on the Frost Moon, but also the two others as well, since Columbina dead body escaped the prison hides all three moons authority. Okay, yeah, but well, yeah. Okay, never mind. That's not what I thought it was going to be about. Razor language. Sandrone want make big fate calculation. Calculator not strong. Need better GPU. Wanderer give his Erminzel powered GPU. Sandrone execute the program and begins calculating using Traveler as added variable. Calculation draw up fate of world. Fate align calling for Columbina. Luanatar sending a radio signal to Columbina to track the right location and time. Arlecchino and Varka pull down moon to boost signal. One signal strong, Columbina soul pull through time like gravity. One soul arrive, reconstruction complete. Once the genuine moon arrow arrived as Columbina, Dottore artificial one became basically useless. See, that's what I thought too. I was trying to go through and figure out how the marrows kind of line up and if how they impact Dottore's. And I kind of reached that conclusion too, that once the actual moon marrow was there, his artificial one was kind of just cooked. Well, and also the fact that she had like the real authority on her too. Like we still ripped the marrows from him, which might have had a little bit of power, but the fact that she has like the official authorities inside of her, like what are his marrows at that point, you know? The thing about the world formula is the path, and it feels like Sandrone was actually the only one to calculate the formula right because she used both Renee's and Alay's ideas, and all previous calculations were ending in apocalypse. But what comes after world's death is actually rebirth. Ooh, that's a good way to look at it. And that's what happened to Columbina. She was reborn. So I believe Sandrone's formula was ending with a rebirth, and maybe it required her death, and that's one of the reasons for Sandrone to... Okay, never mind. I mean, that's a bit of a stretch, but I like the idea. I think the idea is dope. Anyone look at the alchemical marriage Carter map, try to draw the world formula on a large scale? What do you mean? Any music? Makes much sense now why the seal of chemical marriage was involved, especially if we take it as something that can condense divinity down into the human realm. During the quest, the Moon Sisters refer to divinity as if it were the same or equivalent to their soul. Thus, maybe the seal was used to condense Columbina's divinity and manifest it into her physical realm, making her body, thus sealing her soul back inside her own body. Alright, an interesting thought I had is that calculating a world formula is somewhat akin to decompiling a compiled program back in a source code. Simply having it in any capacity would allow you to understand the source code, aka the entire world and the fate of the world, because assuming time would run like a process in programming, you could see the entire program even past the point of the current events, including the finishing lines and end process. But I think simply having it is like looking at it in a viewing program but not having the actual software / ability to modify it. Which is why a descender is needed as a variable, and why Renee could only see the same results each time. He was simply previewing the current end of the program, while the traveler descender could take the world formula, the source code, and modify the outcome, add variables to the existing code, changing the outcome. Another tip, that works like a computer theory, I know, but honestly, there's always been something to it with a false sky and broken looks technology. I mean, yeah, okay, I see where he's going. So, like, us, we're able to access a different level of the world formula. 4.2 World Quest, Alchemical Quest. Oh, if you see what it is on the wiki, just say that. I don't know. I don't see it immediately when searching just 4.2 Quest. I still feel like something's missing. Maybe maybe I can watch that again. Oh boy. My mind needs a break for a minute. No, this is good though. I mean, I at least got some answer in, like, a generic understanding of what exactly, like, or based off of her speculation about what exactly happened, with the world formula there, because that was the part that I felt like was glossed over in the actual quest, and not glossed over, but kind of harder to understand. And with the focus of obviously the outfit and everything like that, and all the stuff we've gotten from that, I feel like we've overlooked, or I've overlooked especially, just researching more into the world formula and stuff. So it was nice to get a little refresher on that, and honestly, now I realize that I need a refresher on everything, because I feel like something else is missing to fully bring all my thoughts together on how the world formula actually plays a role into the, not only just this quest, but the overarching timeline of Genshin itself. I feel like there's more there that we can figure out. Oh boy. I think that's all I got. I think that's what I got for videos. You were mentioning another one, Raiden. What was the other one you were mentioning? I don't remember what you were mentioning. It was up further. Hold on, let me see. Where is it at? Oh, the Traveler's new outfit. Yo, Radish. Radish. Listen, buddy. Don't make me come over there. Don't make me come over there. Radish, you still playing? Oh my god, hold on, let me level up my other meeting points. Dude. What? Who the fuck? Ah. Why can't I talk to anyone? What is going on? Why can't I talk to anybody? Aren't I supposed to... Is there a quest going on? Yo, I can't. You got all C6 characters, brother. Yo, oh my god, that's why. God damn it. I forgot I went to co-op because of you. Oh, alright. Alright. I was so confused. Max all these out real quick. Oh my god. I thought these were all voiced. Mission accomplished. Looks like a whole new camp. Even if the fortifications are complete, any attackers, be monsters or otherwise, will have a hard time overcoming our defenses now. My house has had half a month's worth of fuel supplies, so even in the event of some massive wild hunt assault, we should be able to hold out until reinforcements arrive. Always pays to be prepared for the worst, because you could take a bit of a break now. So I'll be taking a trip home first. Meanwhile, it's been a while since I've seen my old pops. I almost gotten so used to seeing you here, she almost forgot you're actually from Pyramida. Why don't you come along if you wouldn't mind? I'd like to host you at our place. We've set up a food truck here as per Paimon's suggestion, but cooking at home is more convenient all the same. You'll be cooking while you're in luck, because Paimon never says no to a tasty meal. We jump in the moon wagon, and before long, you're in Pyramida. That's weird. I thought all the meeting points were voiced. Why isn't this one voiced? Food, 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 food. So much. According to the amount we usually cook for our troops. Oh my god. It's like a saying when they're like, oh, you got enough to feed an army. Might be a bit much for 3. No worries. Take your time. I'll go see my old pops in a bit, so feel free to stay until evening. Don't worry, Paimon's got this. I'm writing. I might watch that other one later, because I got tomorrow is just another chiller. I'll probably watch maybe that one, and then if anyone else comes out, oh, somebody else was linking one earlier too, so maybe we'll watch a couple other ones tomorrow, and then day after that, what's tomorrow? Wednesday? Today's Tuesday? Wednesday? Thursday is Arkanites. Oh my god, dude, my dialogue's off. I'm so brain dead.
Paimon coming in! Paimon coming in! Is this the...
Well, I did cook for everyone a lot before taking up my current post. It's just that I haven't had the time recently. The people of Pyramida come from every corner of the world, so there's a wide variety of palates to cater for. In other words, it pays to dabble. But since I'm not yet familiar with your preferences, I just made a bit of everything. If there's anything here you particularly like, don't hesitate to say so.
Thank you, brother, for that note to turn up my dialogue volume. Save me from reading more today.
There's no need for flattery. If anything, that just makes me want to find the dish you'll like the most even more. People can say what they want, but the look on someone's face when they eat something they enjoy never lies. As far as I'm concerned, nothing makes me happier than seeing people happy. And whether as a lightkeeper or a chef, I'll do whatever it takes to keep them smiling. That might sound trivial to you, but deep down, that's all I've ever really wanted.
You're doing great as it is. I think this guy's gonna be a good leader. Now that he got past that little, you know, ditching his friends to go fight a boss 1v1 and would have most likely lost, I think once he's gotten past that, you know, he could be a good leader.
Exactly! There's no way the people around you aren't grateful for what you do. Heck, they'd probably get mad hearing you talk yourself down like that.
Dude, the Fallout shelter was great. I loved it.
Besides,
that was so cool.
get in line behind the two of us.
I loved that so much.
Thank you. All right, I'll refrain from saying anything else unrelated to
dinner.
Please,
Spin. Dude, I cracked myself up. Let me tell you. You wanted to be carried because your builds are buns. Bro, who is this guy talking? Bro is in the chat talking to himself when I'm cozying around doing a goddamn quest. Is this guy for real? Look, Radish, I was gonna ask you because I was gonna say, let's go kill some of these bosses for these co-op challenges, these co-op achievements, dude. I need to do all of these. Where the fuck are they? I need to do. What? These ones? No. These ones. Rewards. We don't need that crap. And Varka. Hello, Varka. Oh yeah, I gotta do achievement hunting for, I got some achievement hunting left to do for KRAI.
Honorary Knight. Thanks to you, this post's finally starting to look the part.
You're welcome.
Now, even if we're attacked while the whole camp's dead drunk, we'll be able to hold out till I sober up.
You're joking again, right?
Saw right through me. Did you learn all my tells without even trying, Honorary Knight?
Varka, you're not hard to read, buddy.
More like we've gotten used to your nonsense without even trying.
Or he is, because honestly, I mean, he puts on a front.
Still, when I'm not on watch, that's when it's time to crack open a cask. You're always welcome here.
Thank you, man. Why does my mouse keep coming disconnected? Dude, I cleaned it out and then I must not have connected it the right way because I cleaned it out like a week ago. And ever since then, like sometimes it'll just come randomly disconnected. Yeah, I 100%ed these yesterday. I did all the world quests, all the chest collections. And now I just need to go around and get these co-op bosses. And what's the other? Oh yeah, they added, I gotta go collect the books. There's a couple of books I haven't found. But yeah. Oh, yay. What's this? Oh, that's not this one, though. Oh, wait, can I? Oh, wait. No. There's still more reasons to not cry. I can't do this yet. Alright. Yeah. gonna say I already thought I capped it. Oh yeah, we still got a couple regions left. How long do I gotta wait for this? Oh, 5 hours. Okay, so that's tomorrow. I haven't read any of the new books yet. I don't know if there's any like super major ones. The big cool thing I found was over in the wing of this area, where you got that lore about the Hyperboreans figuring out they could use the elemental energy to make moon wheels, I'm assuming. This is like one of the coolest things that I've found so far, but I haven't looked through the other books. I mean, it's not the 10th year since Hyperborea initiated the Elysium project. It's pretty cool. But the 6.3 quests really bring together the original world quest with Reed Miller and all of that. It really ties together that whole storyline. So I'm curious about how, if we're gonna get continuation of these existing world quests to give even more context to
Would you like to go
what we've already learned about, you know, Reed Miller and the Frostmoon Scions and Isla and Alia and the Mad Monk and all of that. Well, it's more about how they learned they could harness the power without the influence of the firmament directly. Where is it? After relentless experimentation, we finally mastered the technikos of tailoring and refining the seeds of life. Now humans born after such adjustments can wield elemental forces at will. This ancient planet holds unimaginable colossal forces within its depths, and its gates are now opening to us. Given time, we shall become masters of the earth. But yeah, and then it goes, even the most ordinary person can freely wield the power of the elements without relying on the gifts of the firmament. You can still produce enough food, whatever. And then this is the one they're talking about, the Pillar of Embla. It's like we could reach out and pierce the sky, the Lord of the Heavenly City. Yeah, this was a cool little piece. And it's, you have to like bring the three Kuhenkis over to here. And so it's just a little mini thing. But yeah, it's a crazy kind of piece of lore they hid just as a chest exploration. Like, it's not even a world quest. It's not even a quest. It's just a puzzle. You bring 3 Kuhenki to this little island, and it's just boom. You know what I mean? Kind of reminds me of that initial, you know, East Ross Island, like east of Mondstadt. You know what I mean? It reminds me just of that, and how much lore was just over there. You know, just having this little piece of lore here is pretty cool. Oh, man. But yeah, anything else? Not really. I mean, a lot of it's just related. But if you've done the 6.0 world quests, definitely do these world quests, and then you can kind of piece some stuff together. Because I did the major world quest first, and I was still kind of confused as to, like, who's who, and, like, just piecing the things together because I hadn't gone through really Reed Miller in, like, KRAI, like 6.0 world quests. I didn't do, like, the full deep dive, you know what I mean? But then after doing these quests, and then the side quests related to this, like, once you get all 5 proofs of cognoscenti and do the little treasure chest here, and then you can come over and actually talk to this guy, Tolfin. You can come talk. Tolfin? Okay, well, once you do that quest, Tolfin's standing here, and he gives you the breakdown of who, all of the Reed Millers are. And then, if you go over to this area here, actually, which I haven't read through these yet, but I'm assuming these are going to be interesting as well, is the information on the proof of the cognoscenties. Once you get all 5, But yeah, they haven't... Like, Tolfin, he gives an idea of who the second Reed Miller is, but he says he doesn't know who it is, but I think it's Alia, not Isla, Alia. But then, once you open this up, then you can view all the details about the proofs of cognoscenti, which I haven't looked through these yet. So yeah, there's still a lot of, like, Reed Miller, just like I said, the connection between Reed Miller, Mad Monk, and the Frost Moon Scions, like history, Alia, Isla, and how all of that kind of came together. And then plus, like, their dream to reach Elysium, and how they plan to reach Elysium, and what they had to go through to try to reach Elysium, and why they didn't reach Elysium. Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But it all, I feel like it all comes together here, so I'm curious to see if they continue more world quests related to this stuff in the next map expansion. But yeah, so there's all this here, which I haven't looked through this yet, and I'm not doing that right now. I'm trying to think if there were any other books or any other, like, lore tidbits that I haven't gone through yet. Oh, this. Amsvartnir is all about Koitar. If you haven't done it, I'm totally leaking it. I'm totally spoiling it for you right now. But you do this little puzzle and you get Koitar's temple. And how Boreas found her. So Boreas is going to be a main 100, like, definitely the next map expansion is going to focus on Boreas. Because we have the two swords that can't be pulled. The red glowing one, this one that's literally right here. Yeah, this is Koitar's temple. But we have this red sword here. And then, which we can't pull out. And then, I'll show you the other one too. Hold on, where is it? It's, I mean, it's right here, but is there an easy way to get to it? If you go through this area, which I did this all yesterday, honestly, I didn't realize how, like, cool this little wolf quest was gonna be, so I did it just while I was exploring, so it's off stream, but whatever, but, this whole area, you bring a bunch of wolves together. Like, I think one's right here, and you kill some monsters and bring the wolves together, whatever. There's 3 wolves, and then it brings you on this, there it is. It brings you up this little path. Is it this one? Yeah, this path here. It is that, yeah, it is that Boreas. Yeah, it's going to be totally focused on him. Because we got the wolves howling, which will bring you up to here. Yeah, dude, exactly. I mean, that's the whole reason of getting the KRAI things. Is because, you know, there's supposed to be some dark force invading Mondstadt. So then eventually you come up to this sword here. After bringing these wolves together, there's some shit that pops up on screen and it gives you a short little story. You interact with this sword. This guy stares at you. Right? And I love you. And then it just says, yeah, perhaps because Boreas' presence could not be felt. So I don't know if this is going to be a Varka specific interaction. Like early access type of thing like we got with Nefer. Or maybe we get free Razor next patch and then you gotta come here with Razor. It is like Fenrir. It is. Fenrir locked away type of deal, yeah. That's exactly what it is. If you go on the wiki and you look at even what they're talking about, I mean, this is like where Fenrir was put away. That's like his dungeon or whatever the fuck. Like this is the name of the area he was locked away. But dude, yeah, this music just plays here. It's totally chill. I love this place. This place is nice. This is dope. Can you see like the line of Sealies? You bring all the Sealies up here, dude. But yeah, no. Definitely next KRAI expansion is going to focus on the Boreas more. Boreas and probably more Koitar. I mean, because we're unlocked a little bit of the temple, but like... So, there's 3 little pieces of lore here. I'm assuming this part at the bottom here is what she's singing. But I don't know, because it's in like that italicized format. Yeah, there's a lot of cool shit. Nah, yeah, this is definitely the cool shit. Reed Miller stuff. You get the main quest. This little piece over here. I think besides that, there isn't really... Just exhaust your dialogue with Tolfin in Pyramida when you're done with the Reed Miller quest. To get all the info on all the Reed Millers. And then in his Iron Vault... In his Iron Vault, you get, there's a bunch of lore about, the origins of the treasure hunt. Origins of the, like, gathering the proof of cognoscentes and why those all came together. Why that started. Why that, it was, you know, why that rumor was started. But yeah. Yeah, so I'm excited for the Boreas stuff. So yeah, if there's one thing to definitely recap on before probably the next KRAI expansion is probably the Reed Miller stuff. Since we got all the proofs, that stuff's probably gonna slow down. Maybe we might get a little hint of him, but I feel like that kind of line of what exactly Reed Miller did and who Reed Miller was and what his interactions were with the past, we got the answers for that, and I don't know if we're going to really get more with that because there's not much more to the story after we're done with everything. But we're getting the hints of Boreas and everything like that, so I definitely see that. That's going to be the thing to recap on before going into the next expansion of KRAI, I think. I wish Nicole character allow revisit lore area, unlock more info. Dude, I wish, like, we go here, and, oh yeah, dude, I forgot her initial story. Oh, I didn't follow this again after doing this. Does she have anything else to say? I didn't check this.
Welcome, welcome. I'm not in KRAI at the moment.
No, it's the same thing.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's just the same. She tells us a story in the first Witch's quest. And it's very fairy tale-like. And I feel like that's hiding something in it too that I want to revisit. Very fairy tale-like to the beginning of the... Honestly, I don't really remember what it was. I have to revisit that. But it seemed very important. Fuck, what was it? Oh, the first mages... One mage, and then another mage going under that initial mage. And then the mage backstabbing... The mage... For the king, which the king is like her dad, and the other mage is a sister. I don't fucking remember. Dude, yeah, the fact that everything's in a goddamn story, just gotta decode it. Gotta decode everything, man. It's like a... You know, a trick I've found though is for certain things when I like want it from a different POV, is I'll copy and paste the text and throw it in chat and just be like, read this from like a blank POV, or like I basically tell chat to like argue against itself to try to figure out certain things that I'm like having a hard time, not necessarily understanding, but just like looking at from a different perspective. It kind of helps. It kind of helps do that, you know, because then you could analyze how like it might look at it differently, and then you could compare it to how you're looking at it to reach conclusions. That's how I use like the certain forms of chat. You know what I mean? But all right, holy shit, that was a yapathon. I think that's yeah, the major parts of the world quest at least. Not to like I'll read it through and like try to or like understand it to a point myself, but then I'll like if I want a different take on it, kind of, you know what I mean? Just like twist it. Give me an argument. I like making chat argue with itself is one of the best use cases of chat. That's the problem when people use chat, is they don't like have it. They'll just like type in a question and then they'll take that question at face value, not realizing it's a fucking AI answering you. It's like you're not supposed to take it at like that face value because it's kind of skewed. Like it's weird because chat like its base chords to agree with you in a way. So unless you tell it to like argue with you, it's not gonna argue with you. And then I tell it to argue against its argument. So you just throw it into an argumentative loop, and you get so many answers. Actually, that's why I say when we're going through these videos and I'm like we're all speculating, I'm just like, yo, nobody's right. We all have to just fight each other. But I respect everyone's opinion. I'm just gonna fight you on it because, yo, I just like, disprove me. Disprove me. Please, I've been saying this. Just disprove everything. It's the only way we win. All right, though. I think that's it. I'll watch that other video you linked tomorrow. The other dude linked the video. I'll watch that tomorrow. And then, yeah, then the day after we will be doing Ark, Knights, Enfield. I'm actually gonna try another gacha. I think it's time. We went over Wayward's Meat. Oh, well, sorry. We went over Wuthering Waves. I think I'm done with Where Winds Meet. I'm just not. It's a lot of investment, dude. And I just. Where Winds Meet takes. I want to play different games. You know what I mean? I want to play different games. So, alright. I'm off of this. Peace out. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for chilling. Good night, evening, morning, wherever you're at. Hell yeah. Dude, I hope that Enfield crafting is dope. I'm ready for it.
I used to take long walks in Silver Moon Hall every day.